Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, a.k.a. The Godfather.
I'm Christian, a.k.a. Pseudo45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, Christian, what was the little look for when I first started?
always
I
good.
saw head...
No, first of all, dramatic. And secondly, no, I just, because right before you just had that giant gallon bucket that you're taking a swig out of.
Half gallon. Just a half gallon. No big
Back to the
deal.
hydration cast.
I know,
Yeah, I had 200 ounces of water yesterday. I was going to count how many times I peed. I lost count after 7. It was like 11 in the morning. So I was like, yep, not going to do that today.
God, you should have seen it. It was fucking, when we were playing 14 earlier this week, he, like, at least 5 pee breaks. Like, we're playing, he's like, yeah, toss
We get out of a dungeon.
I gotta pee. And then just, like, runs. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of water. I don't know what to say. It is what it is. I'm sorry to see results, though.
At least he gets it, though. Poppy pees, and he's like, you know what? I get it. I'd pee on my floor, too, if I had to wait this long.
There was... What was I... I was doing something the other day where I thought for sure I wasn't going to make it to a bathroom. Oh, I think I was driving home or something from wherever. And I was like, I don't know that I'm going to make it right now. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do here.
I've had so few of those moments that they're all, like, ingrained in my mind. Like, the last time that happened to me was at Mardi Gras in St. Louis when I still lived there.
We could just pee on the ground at Mardi Gras.
No, dude, there's millions of people there. That's an instant ticket. I'm going to jail.
They
Like,
gotta catch them.
Nobody's going to
Mardi
jail
Gras,
for peeing in the
dude.
street on Mardi
I
Gras.
guarantee you, if
Bro.
there is a limit to what people are wanting to see on Mardi Gras, and it's not that. And I guarantee you someone's getting a public indecency ticket
Depends where you're
like that.
Yeah, but you're not going to jail for it.
You know what,
like,
Preston? That's
what's a
true.
public
And I'll tell
indecency
you,
ticket?
I wasn't at the area where it would have been acceptable.
Fair enough.
But so I'm sitting there, because we did the like the Bud Light like tent thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're in line, I'm waiting. I got in line when I was like, my body was like, hey, you definitely have to pee right now. I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll hop in line. And then obviously, like, it just takes so long and everybody's drunk, and so it's just hard for people to even figure out, like, how to use a line or whatever. And so I'm sitting there. I got to the point where my kidneys or whatever started to hurt so bad. I was in tears. I was crying. Like, I was like, I'm not. It was the most
When you get to
pain.
that point, yeah, peeing isn't even like... It's not even a satisfaction. You're not even like, finally. You're just like, this hurts. Like, everything hurts.
Yeah. Well, I was like, this sucks so bad. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I cannot do it. And I'm like, I'm waiting. It was like, there was like maybe like 5 people in front of me at this point. And I'm like, it's the panic starts to set in. I'm like, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna go find a corner. And that's what's gonna happen. And everybody's gonna have to deal with that. And there's just nothing that I can do about it.
Yep.
I know people that don't know me probably see how much water I drink and are thinking, like, he's detoxing. Like, he's absolutely trying to pass a drug test. Right? Because otherwise, like, why are you drinking so much water? So, anyway. Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Not yours. That is my comic book. Thank you.
Out of
So
reach.
somebody...
Out of reach.
Yeah, somebody is just being a little nuisance because she
Antsy
doesn't want to be trapped
the
in this room.
Yeah, rain day.
I know. So let's address the elephant in the room before we kick things off today. If you're wondering, wow, Alex sure wears that hoodie a lot. You're right. It's very comfortable.
It's free advertising.
And it's cold outside. So if you want to be comfortable like me, go buy one of these Comic HQ hoodies. It's pretty great. But also
Bonfire. Yeah.
I only have 2 like lounge hoodies, and they're like the ones that I wear when I travel, and I'm just like screwing around the house. So that's what we got.
Oh yeah, dude. I got my blue one of those, and I got a nice yellow big one, and I got my emos hoodie. I will wear those multiple times throughout the week.
I have this one and a black one I got through work that I'll wear like when I travel, and then I actually have like a zip jacket that I'll wear when I travel a lot too, that has like a tattoo shop on it. But that's it. Like super comfy hoodie. I hope Jake loves me just rubbing it sensually for everyone to see. So
I have like 12 hoodies. I'm getting to the point where I almost have more hoodies or as many hoodies as I do shirts.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm starting to stock up. I'm starting to get more.
I love that hoodie lifestyle, man. I love hoodies more than,
The fall when you can wear like shorts and hoodies, pants and hoodies, when you can wear sweatpants and hoodies, and it's all like okay. This is the time I thrive. Like, and it's very similar. Like,
you choose
it's
to live in hell.
Yeah, that's fair. It's my wife. It's very similar. Like, you know those girls that come out every season that wear like the solo vests and like the boots and the like. Like I'm the same way. Yeah. Like I'm the same way when it comes to fall. It's just for hoodies. No.
Rich, affluent mothers. Yes.
Oh, suburban. Yeah, sure.
Suburban. That's fair. Suburban. So. This is the time I thrive. I love it. Best time of year.
Me and all the other suburban soccer moms.
I felt there with the Ugg boots.
Look, man, I am totally a basic bitch. Like, you can catch me at Starbucks with all those moms drinking my caramel brulee latte with soy milk and no whip. I don't care.
They stopped selling my cinnamon dolce latte. Now they got this new gingerbread cookie latte. Pretty fucking good. Pretty fucking good, not gonna lie.
Good. Yeah, it's really good. I'm back. I'm also back. Along with drinking nothing but water, the only other thing I drink is just black coffee until like 10 in the morning. So I can't have those anymore. But when they all first dropped, I went like I tried one of all of them, all the flavored drinks. Yeah.
I'm picky.
So what's the face?
Why can't you eat until 10 in the morning?
No. I can eat. I don't drink coffee past a certain time in the morning. But I'm also not doing the like big flavored coffees. It's just like black coffee with. At most, it'll be a splash of oat creamer, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't do anything.
I thought you were like, I can't eat until 10 in the morning. And I was like, well, why?
I was doing intermittent fasting, but that I would start that at like 8 p.m. so I could eat at 8 a.m. Right? It's just 12 hours. And no, I'm not really eating after 8 p.m. anyway. So anyway, welcome to the Healthcast today. So let's dive into our weeks. Who wants to kick? Well, sorry, Preston, comment corner before we go to the weeks.
I got nothing. You're good.
Okay, I must F that up for the first time.
Keep an eye out for maybe some B-roll streams. Keep an eye out for Twitch streams on Sundays. We're doing El Paso, I swear it's fun. I did nothing.
I feel like Travis asked me something the other day, but I don't remember what it is, so it's not important apparently. Anyway,
no comments.
He actually he posted earlier. You know, Dave Filoni's the new creative whatever the hell.
Oh, he shared that
Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
And so, why don't we treat that as a comment? Let's see what that means. Nothing, because KOTOR is dead.
No,
it doesn't matter.
If there's one person
disagree with you.
They can give it to us. That'd be him.
Yeah, I think you're being really hard for no reason.
I think you guys are both huffing copium because you like the shows that he's made, which is fine, by the way, because they seem good.
He makes the best content.
Star Wars shit, man.
I'm glad he's the only one.
That's cool, but that doesn't mean anything's going to change about Star Wars.
Yes, it doesn't mean it's going to be good. It's going to be better.
It means the show, but KOTOR's. Here's the thing. I'll be the first one to roll back anything I'm about to say, but there is no shot in hell that we are about to get any level of anything in KOTOR being confirmed, especially stuff like all of the dope stuff that happened when you follow the quest line in KOTOR about the sand people, the Tusken Raiders, and like their whole religion, and then their old connection to the Force, and like all the crazy shit that game goes into. Yeah.
Filoni just introduced.
Companies could do cool shit all the time. I'm not done.
He introduced time travel into canon. He can do whatever he wants.
I'll talk at the same time you're talking. I don't care. And so,
great podcast.
and companies could do cool shit all the time. It doesn't mean they're going to.
But he has. He's proven himself.
And he's introduced stuff already that like will make it easier to do stuff. Like that he's introduced time travel. He introduces the world.
There's absolutely no way. Look, if we get a full deep dive like we did about the Tusken Raider stuff, I'll come on this and I'll be like, I will get a Dave Filoni tattoo, but it's not happening.
You're going to see the next movie that gets announced at D23 is just going to be called Tatooine. It's nothing but like Tusken Raiders and the other civilization there.
I did that in Book of Boba Fett. It's fine.
That's true. You got a little Tusken Raider in Boba Fett.
Got a lot of Tusken Raider in Boba Fett.
Yeah, and how much of it was anything related to KOTOR?
None. But to be fair, it was the best part of the show, if that's worth anything.
That was one of them, yeah.
That should tell, no, I'm not.
Hey, man, I'm right there behind you. They can't even do the remake of the game. They're not going to get a show. It's fine. You never know, though. Never know. Could be.
That being said, the guy, he seems to make really cool stuff, the stuff that he does get his hands on. So hopefully that just means that we'll get more quality things. I am not holding my breath for anything that's already cool, though, being brought in any meaningful way.
Yeah. Never know.
I just liked the whole like article of Dave Filoni is going to work hand in hand with Kathleen Kennedy. It's like I have a feeling he's just going to do it.
Fucking thing.
He's just going to do it. Like
she's gonna go, sure, Dave. He's gonna go, yeah. Go back to your hole.
What was that? How does she sound?
Sure, Dave.
Sure, Dave.
Did you know I'm a helpmate ET?
Also, go back to your hole. Preston, since you built Preston up about being uncancelable, he is going to lean into that so hard. This man's going to be wild.
No, we are not going to lean into that.
He's just a joker.
No.
He's just a joker card over here. You don't know what Preston's going to do.
I'm telling you, man.
I got limits.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll test those.
God. We'll test those.
So, who wants to kick things off with their week?
I'll go.
Okay.
Sure.
I got a big one.
You did beat games. I forgot.
I did beat a game. I played the shit out of a game.
Yeah, you did.
But first, I will say really quick,
Yeah.
because I don't really get to talk about this kind of stuff often. I have watched a TV show.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh.
I've started watching a TV show. We watched the first episode of Monarch. I know there's a second one out, and there's going to be a third one tomorrow. I haven't watched the second one yet, but I watched the first one.
No. They're Fridays, I believe.
Oh, I thought it said Wednesday for
This
some
week.
reason.
There's one a week.
Yeah, this week is... Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
because
know
of
which
Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But very impressed with the
Yeah.
first episode. Very cool. I'm already bought in. They're doing the right thing for monster stuff, right? Like for kaiju stuff, it's like the ratio is right. Like human to monster story is right so far. It's very, very.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've watched both episodes now. Both very good. Was there ever a point where you went, like I found myself doing this during the second episode, when you sat back and you go, I'm actually watching a Godzilla TV show right now.
Yep.
Like a TV show.
It was right at the beginning when it was actually going through the history of things. So it was showing like Kong and like it was doing the timeline stuff, right? And I was sitting there looking at it and I was like, man, we are really in here. Like,
The CG's good too. Like,
I imagine
it is. Yeah.
I imagine it must be similar to how people felt when Marvel films were kicking off originally. Like, when the plan started to come together, right? And you're like, maybe just a little bit before the first Avengers movie, right? But, like, you're sitting there and you're seeing, like, all the different films sort of come together and you're like, as fans, right? Because like, I wasn't a big Marvel person in general, but, like, as fans, like, if somebody's, like, really big fans of that shit, I imagine it must have been a similar feeling of you're sitting there and you're like, oh, damn, we're really in here. Like, we are doing some high budget, like, they are really going for it. And between, like, you know, all of the, like, basically all the kaiju stuff we've gotten, I'll say, probably since Shin Godzilla, because I think that came out before the Legendary one, I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember.
But whichever one of those came first, either the first Legendary one or Shin Godzilla, either one. It's been like bangers after banger. Like they have not missed yet, in my opinion. I know there's some people who are back and forth with the Legendary stuff. I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun. So yeah, for me, like that's the entire time that I've been watching this stuff. I was just been like, hell yeah.
Godzilla -1 is not in continuity with the rest of the stuff, correct?
Not the Legendary stuff, no.
None of the ones that come out of Japan are in continuity with any of the Legendary stuff. Only the Legendary stuff is in continuity with them.
Okay, so then that one's straight out of Japan. The question is, then who owns the rights to this? Like, how are you making a Japanese film and
Toho.
you have a whole American?
Toho has Japanese side. Americans have Legendary side. Or
I think Legendary still license it from Toho. If memory serves, Toho owns the whole thing, and they just go, yeah, go for it.
Oh, fair.
Like they still, I think Toho probably still has like a like a Sauron's eye on everything. Like they're probably keeping an eye on the legendary stuff. But from their perspective, like, and again, whatever. There's so many people who are like, fucking stuck up Godzilla fans, but I think from their perspective, there's room for both styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of Godzilla or just kaiju films in general, and they are probably currently they are seeing more money than they've seen in the last like 20 years.
Buckets, yeah.
So what do they care? Like, yeah, I guarantee you, the second the legendary films stop making money is when they'll stop making those films. Like, that's just what it'll be at. But so far, they've been good. Me personally, I'm still waiting. I would love to see, somebody go crazy with like a Pacific Rim crossover or some shit.
Sure.
But
That would be really cool.
it's not gonna happen. But I'd be down with it.
Can I make one comment about Japan and the -1 thing? So I don't know why that movie's called -1, but one thing that I found really interesting in Japan, I don't know if we commented on this after the trip, but like there was a new Fast and Furious movie coming out when we were there, and the thing that blows my mind, the thing that cracks me up, is just how Japan names stuff, right? Because they go wild with names. So I think the movie here was called like Fast 10 or something, and over in Japan it was like a Fast and Furious, like tires on fire or something like that. It wasn't exactly it, but it was just something crazy. So we were like, that's goofy, and we went back and started Googling, and like all of that whole franchise just has wild names for each film.
It's not even just that; it's tons of other stuff, and then sometimes they get it better than us. Like, there was what was that Tom Cruise movie? It was like Live, Die, Repeat or something like that. Japan's name was All You Need Is Kill.
That's not even arguably, that is a much better name.
Yep. And then like I still think like I think Resident Evil like is probably another great example because it's called Resident Evil here, but then in Japan they've all just been called Biohazard and that's it. I'm like, that's a way better name. Like,
yeah. That's really funny. I want to see -1. I actually think it looks really good. I like the fact that it looks. I know we commented on it before. Like that design looks influenced on the legendary Godzilla films, and I think that design is so cool. Although it looks like they're going to do some unique stuff to them, right? With the way his like the lightning actually goes up the back and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. It looks good, but I like that overall design.
It's so crazy to me because I saw some comments on. I was watching the trailer again just because I'm super pumped for that movie.
It's out in Japan already, isn't it?
Yeah. And somebody, there was a comment that was like that I saw, and again, I broke my own rule. You never read the comments because it's just going to be stupid stuff. But
unless you know,
unless it's Preston's comment corner, in which case all the comments are great.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes you read comments because you know they're going to be nuts, and you're like, this will be fun. But otherwise, yeah, you don't read the comments.
But it was like some guy was like, thank God that Godzilla's back to being a force of nature again and not like the anti-hero or whatever. And I was like, he's been an anti-hero since the second Toho film, like in the fucking 70s. Stop opening your mouth. Like, just...
Isn't it his thing, fight other kaijus, but there's a lot of collateral damage
literally
along the way?
Decades,
like,
it was, I'm going to fight other kaiju and just sort of protect things. But sure, let's like just fucking erase 20 years of film because that would get in the way of my sweet comment. It's like, God, if I could press a button, I'd delete this. Oh, man, I'd take us back to the fucking Stone Age so fast. And by Stone Age, I mean 90s and early 2000s. But
I was going to say, you said erase 20 years of film, but, like, those films have been around, what, by now? I mean, we're in 2020.
I meant 20 as in, like,
years.
before. I meant, like, because they stopped making those films after a while. So I meant, like, in that time period, like, there was, like, 20 years worth of films that he was an anti-hero in. But it's, again, not to get into the way of your sweet dig, but it's like, you don't even know what you're talking. It was so irritating. But -1 looks fucking sick. I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be good. And anyway, more to the point, Monarch so far was great, and I'm excited to watch more. So game-wise, I finished, and I realized too after listening back to the new episode that we put out, I said that I was playing Alan Wake and then didn't say anything else about it. Like I was just like, "Yep, I'm playing Alan Wake too."
Yeah.
Anyways, and then just moved on.
That's okay though, because you binged it so hard. Now you can actually talk about the game as a
Yeah,
whole.
well, and what's crazy is that I still can't say anything about it because it
So
would
much
be
surprises,
just
yeah.
incredible spoil. Alan Wake 2 is one of those games. There's been a lot of those this year, but it's so narratively driven and focused that anything I say is a spoiler. So I'm not going to say anything about that piece of it. That being said, all the hype you've heard about the game is 100% true, and then some. Like, I was shocked to see a survival horror game in the 90s in Metacritic. Not that it just doesn't really happen that often. Like, you know, most of them sit in like the 80s range, which again is not like a measure of quality. It's just like that's typically where, because survival horror usually isn't for everybody, and sometimes they can get in their own way with like a really campy kind of storyline or something like that. And honestly, most people are just playing. A lot of people play survival horror games for less about story and more about like the gameplay experience, right? Like actually playing through the game. This is not one of those cases. That this game, Remedy is really going for it. I think the nicest thing that I can say about this game is that they end up tying together different storylines and universes across all the games that they've made. And not only that, but then even like the 13 years that happened between Alan Wake 1 and now 2, but then also like with Control and everything, they tie this all together in a way that I previously I only thought the Trails games could pull off. And that's probably the nicest thing I can say about it. It is crazy what they were able to accomplish, and
universe, that connected world.
They don't even because they do things that I've not seen games do before. They acknowledge that there was 13 years between the sequel and this, and they're like, or between the original game and this, and they are like explaining like that is an in-universe thing. Like, hey, it's been this long since, and you're like, oh fuck, it really like you are. Like they're dating all of these things and be like, this is what happened between all of those things, and this is what Alan was doing, or like what happened to Alan during these times, and yada yada yada, and like this is how things were influencing in the middle of Control and all this other shit, and then like they even give nods to fucking Quantum Break in very small ways, and then they do the same thing with Max Payne. Now they don't own Max Payne or Quantum Break, so they can only do very like light references, or in Max Payne's case, they just call him Alex Casey, and it's very overt what they're referencing. But if you know anything about Max Payne, you're like, oh, okay, that's Max Payne. Like, I know what's happening here. It's it's just impressive. The entire time, there's one chapter in specific that you play as. This is not a spoiler. There's two protagonists in the game. That's in the trailer, and one of them being Alan Wake, obviously, as the game is titled. And there's one of his chapters that Preston saw me play that I think probably both of us the entire time our mouths were just completely open. A lot
of time you were playing this game, like I'm kind of like doing stuff in the background, dishes, making food, doing whatever I need to do. As soon as like I saw what was going on in that section of the game, I'm like, I'm sitting down and watching this. Like I need to know where this goes, and it went on for a while. And like this is so a great, fantastic, imaginary, like very imaginative choice to do this game. It's incredible, and I loved all the live action like footage that they took for this game. Good. Like anytime you watch anything on TV or on a screen, amazing.
I think I watched that part as well. Is that where there was some music involved? Yeah. So.
Well, yes, but there's music involved in a lot of it. But this is like.
It's more involved here.
Yeah, like it's like a full on live action musical. Yeah, is the
yes,
yeah.
I watched this
okay.
part. Yeah. So my only problem is because like Preston, I was doing stuff. So the game was really cool. I even noticed like little nods, like there was graffiti at one point you run down the street that said like AWE. like the
Well, no.
expansion.
So not only that, but all that graffiti in Alan's chapters are all. None of it is like just graffiti. It's all saying something. And I'll even go even further, even down to street signs or like warning signs, like construction warning signs. But then you get closer, and it's writing that's basically telling you like it's your fault your wife died. You're a fucking idiot. Blah blah blah. Like it goes down, and you're like, this is there is so much attention to detail, and it's something that 90% of players are going to blow right by because they're just assuming, oh, it's a construction sign, and then move by. They're not going to read it, and then they go back and they look. Same thing with, like, you know, there's graffiti everywhere that says, like, don't write, stop writing, like, all this other shit, and you're like, I would not, it's wild. But anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, my only problem was, like, every time I would watch, because I'd be doing other stuff, maybe making dinner or whatnot, or, you know, hang out with Allie, and sometimes we were playing Wonder, like Mario Wonder, and I would have it up on the side and look over. Like, everything looked incredible, but it was so wild that I had to get, like, and I didn't get to see the end because it happened really late my time. So I queued up.
It happened late our time too.
I fell asleep right the last 5 minutes. I'm pissed. Like I gotta go look up on YouTube because I want to know what happened.
I had to queue up a YouTube video of like the story because I was like, I'm not always watching this with volume, and every time I look over, like it's just wild whatever is happening. And to that point, like I saw that point you guys were talking, like you're referencing, and I thought the same thing. I was like, I love the live action, definitely a choice, because I think sometimes it can be jarring, but like you could not have done the scene you're doing any other way. Like it would not have been as good if it was not live action.
And shout out to them, because those are obviously the same voice act, like the actual voice actors that are doing those live roles. They acted their asses off. They did a great job.
Yes, they did.
Like
and that guy who plays the guy who like was the face of Max Payne and the voice of it in the games, he's obviously in here too, but that's the writer and like creator of these games. I didn't know that until like recently. Like, oh shit,
the guy that played Max Payne.
The guy, the face, you see the Max Payne where he's all like squinty face like that, and the guy who plays Agent Casey in this one, he's like the creative head of like all these games.
Of Remedy.
Nice.
Yeah, of Remedy.
That's hilarious.
And he does a fantastic job.
Yeah, he does a very, very good job. Yeah, and then, you know, for survival horror people, the game is spooky as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It got me.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Multiple times. It is, either way, like I said, the hype about the game is real. Go play it. I don't know where exactly it's gonna land on my
up there.
top of the year list, but it is a the discussion is 1 or 2. That's
I was about to text you during some of this, like especially that scene we're talking about. I was gonna be like, Christian, get your speech ready because like I will probably be behind you on however high up you want this to go because like. It can go pretty high.
It is
in my head.
It is genuinely.
It was out for a week and made it to like Game of the Year nomination. So
that usually happens for around this time.
It is one of the. It is one of the most impressive games that I've ever seen.
Yeah, very impressive.
Like, it is. They took some real crazy creative choices and they land like they are good. And it's between. I said this the other day too. Is like between this and Resident Evil 4 remake. The bar for survival horror games is so high now that if I was releasing a survival horror game after this and it wasn't by either Remedy or Capcom, I'd be terrified. I would absolutely.
The Silent Hill creators right now are like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do? this got to be a good game. That's got to be a good game."
That's why what you do, like that. That's why the decisions of those like indie developers on Steam are such a good one. Like, I want to say Stellaris, but that's not what it was. What was the one you played that was like 8-bit? Red and black kind of survival.
Signalis, yes.
Signalis. Like that's why those things are good choices because you're not beholden to what these companies are doing. You can do your own thing and let it stand. But you're right. Like if you're gonna be a Resident Evil, how are you gonna stand up against these other two with the same graphics quality and stuff? Like if your story's not on point, then people are gonna forget about you. If your gameplay's not on point, people are gonna forget about you.
Too many options now. Yeah.
I also find it very promising for like whatever Control 2 is going to be. I'm excited to continue that story because like that's a game I really enjoyed because I'm not into the super survival horror. Don't mind a little spooky. I just want a gun and fast movement that I could do and control. That's fine. But it'll be interesting to see how they continue in their like their Remedy unified like universe, like what
Remedy
Remedy extended universe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, man. Whatever so I know this is my current prediction, and I don't know. I won't say more than this because I don't want to get into spoiler territory. I'll save that for Game of the Year. But they've announced that there's going to be 2 DLCs for Alan Wake, or Alan Wake 2. I mean, I think one of them is going to solely deal with just Alan Wake, like it'll just be self-contained, and I think the next one is going to show their hand at whatever comes next, and personally, I think that'll be Control 2. I
So
think
they'll
it
do
would be
opposite
really
what they did in Control, right? Which is Control expansion, then Alan Wake tie-in.
yes. I think it would be. I think it'd be a nice move. I think people would be stoked about it. But if Jesse shows up in the second DLC pack for Alan Wake 2, and you're running around like, with the head of the Federal Bureau of Control and doing all that other shit, and there's already. Yeah. Anyway, I almost said too much, but yes, I think that's what's going to happen. Who knows though? It's Remedy. They could do something completely out of left field, and Control 2 might be fucking 6 years away, and we might get something brand new in the middle here. Like I don't even put it past them to try and figure out a way to make a Quantum Break 2. But now they own it, or now, you know what I mean, something along those lines. So who knows, man. Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was one of my most anticipated games, and it did not let me down in any way. It was incredible.
Nice.
Let's see. I've played more Like a Dragon, Gaiden. I'm almost to chapter 3 now. I'm like right on the final fight. I got sidetracked doing side
all
stuff.
The little
like
Akami, all the
no,
stuff on the streets.
Some of those. I did do some of those. I basically my rule of thumb with those is I run up. If I have the thing for the person, I'll give it to them. Otherwise, I'm just like, if I don't have it for you, it's like, okay, fuck off. I'm not running around to go find it. And then I'll do all the fighting ones, obviously. I will say one thing for Like a Dragon Gaiden is that it makes me realize how ready I am to be done with the beat 'em up style combat. I want that game to be a turn-based game now forever. 7's totally rewired my brain. I'm like, that's all I care about, and I don't care about this anymore. Not saying the combat is bad in Gaiden, because it's not. It's just it's the same it's always been. That being said, so obviously everybody knows that Ichiban is the new protagonist going forward, but Kiryu is still going to be somewhat involved in the different storylines, right? Alex, I don't know if you saw this, so I'm happy to break this to you now, but in the demo for Infinite Wealth, Kiryu, his super move that he unlocks, like his overdrive move, is him breaking the chains of the turn-based combat, and he goes into full active combat and just starts beating the shit out of people for like a meter, like a bar or whatever, and I'm like,
that's such a good touch.
RGG is undefeated. Like, it's such a good idea, and what a fun way to bring it in. But yeah, so that's really it. The story is as serious as Yakuza can get, and also as just wacky and dumb as you can think. Like the part that just happened recently was I got to this place called the Castle. Have you gotten there, Alex?
No, I'm about to go though. I have the quest from I think Akami.
So you're getting ready and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I don't, Kiryu is wondering. He's like, I don't understand what's about to happen. Blah blah blah, and so you take a helicopter and you're flying over the ocean and you see a giant cargo ship with just walls of cargo containers, maybe like 10, 15 high, and he's like, what the hell are we doing? She's like, that's where the castle's at. And he's like, why is it called the castle? It's just a cargo ship. She's like, yeah, it's just you gotta see to get there, right? So you land, and there's these giant doors, and you're like, what the fuck? The doors open, and somebody lifted Osaka Castle off the ground and put it on a boat and then covered it in cargo containers so that nobody can see it. But then it's basically like Las Vegas on a ship, and like there's like crazy gambling and like a UFC ring where people fight and bet for money and do all this other shit. And Kiryu's like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, and everyone's like, yeah, it's just what happens when, like, the rich get richer. They decide that they want to have a place where nobody can bother them. And so they decided on this. They just put Osaka Castle on a ship. There you go. And I'm like, this story is about a guy who is trying to get out of the Yakuza so that he...
keep his secret identity.
And keep his orphanage for abandoned children along with his adopted daughter, basically, running. Meanwhile, I walk in and there's this guy who has his wife whipping a bunch of people who are in gambling debt that are dragging they're on like this golden chariot thing, and these people are like she's like, go faster, and like hitting them or whatever. And Kiryu at first rightfully is like, what the fuck, like that's not okay. And she's like, it's how they chose to work off their gambling debt. It's what happens when you bet your whole house and that's all you got. And you're just like, oh my god. But like, there's this, like, it's just like, so I don't know how RGG manages to pull it off, but like, it just Yakuza in general. But it's like, it's such a very serious storyline, and then it's just right side by side with the most wacky goofball shit you've ever seen, and somehow they make it work. And I don't know how they do it, but
I know you did this because it's part of the story, but one thing I loved, so in all these games, like, hostess clubs play a part because where a lot of business happens in this world, right? Which makes sense. Talking about the underworld and clearly like seedy places. I got out of there
so fast,
dude. That cracked me up. So what they decided to do in this game, Preston, is the hostess clubs are live action.
I may or may not have seen some cutscenes,
which is really funny to me because they're like
thumbnails are there. I'm like, live action. This is interesting.
I think it's hilarious because like the character.
I need to do some more research on this.
The character's like, hey, head over to the hostess club. A brand new one just opened. It's a new immersive hostess club. So you go, it's live action, you come back, and they're like, what do you think? And he's like, Kiryu's like, it was really immersive. It's like the most immersive one I've ever been to. It was super nice. She's like, yeah, you perv. Like, I'm sure it was.
Good. Yep.
It's just really, like, the
way
like,
it's not like that. I've just been involved in a bunch of hostess clubs. She's like, you know how that sounds, right? And he's like, yeah.
So good.
So far, what's been nice about it is that it's sort of like a greatest hits of all of the Yakuza games. Like, there's a lot of callbacks to, I know some of these games you didn't play, but
yeah,
there's a callbacks to tons of games and stuff. Like, that opening fight in Chapter 1 is really close to, like, the same thing in Yakuza 1 where Kiryu looks at people and they walk up and he's like, if you guys are ready to die, then step the fuck up. And, like, that's literally, like, it's, like, similar to that. Like, they have callbacks to like Yakuza 6 and 5 so far. Like they really have been. It's been like a greatest hits thing, and you can tell it's like, even though this is a sister game to like a Dragon 7 and it's happening concurrently, you can tell that they're really trying. And I think in 8 is when they'll have it. Like they're really trying to like cover all their bases before they finally let Kiryu like have his rest, right? And it's awesome, man. Like it's really really cool to see them do that and how they handle it. So yeah, it's been great so far. Then other than that, yeah, Alex and I did the new variant dungeon for 14. We got the new mount from there. It's fine. It's mostly just a flex, but it's okay. The variant dungeon itself is
it will
awesome.
It will just be a flex in PvP is all I'll do. I'll use it every time I launch in a PvP mode. That's it.
The dungeon itself is fucking awesome though. There was really cool fights and mechanics that Alex and I were figuring out that were really fun.
The best part about those two is like you don't know what's coming and every fight's going to be different. Like that's the purpose of the variant. Like depending on your path, like everything will be different that you do. And there's nothing better. Like we were in the first fight, I think, and we like we would see mechanics pop up. We're like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? We're like, get inside, get outside, do this. We're like, man, we know you, game. You're not gonna catch us slipping.
There was one mechanic that we read it, like we had not seen it before, but we just inherently through the game design we were like, I bet it's going to do this, and so we guessed and we got it right, and we were just like, I got your fucking number. Like I am.
Yep.
We're in here, but yeah, it was good, man. Yeah, that's so far. That's all I've done since then. It was my final time on Alan Wake 2 was probably like 30 something hours. I did not expect it to go as long as it did. I really thought that I was going to come into this podcast and be like, I finished that and Like a Dragon. But Alan Wake.
Did you 100% it?
Alan Wake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know you said you're mopping up side stuff the other day.
I say yes. PlayStation trophies would say no because there's like random combat ones that I didn't do.
Oh, sure.
Like,
sure.
Do fucking 10 headshots in a row with a crossbow or some shit. But as far as the game is concerned, yes, I was content complete.
You did not platinum it, but you 100% at the game.
I got all lunchboxes. I got all the cultist caches. I got all the nursery rhyme puzzles. Like I did all those. So for me, I did. Now, is that to say that when New Game Plus comes through, am I probably going to try and get those other combat ones so that I can have it be done? Yes, I like the game that much that I probably will go do it. But in general, yeah, I got everything there was to see in it, and that was enough for me. But nice. What I'm looking forward to is there's usually, it'll take a little while, but there's somebody, I can't remember their channel name, but there's somebody who, they did this for the first Alan Wake, and they did some for Control and whatever, but Remedy has really good collectibles in a lot of their games that always have like lore and story attached to them. And in Alan Wake games, like the first one, they're manuscript pages, right? So it's like parts of the story that Alan is writing that make their way out of the thing and into the real world and blah blah blah. So somebody will typically take, because you can go into the menu, and you guys probably watched me do this multiple times, but you can go into and listen to them. Like if you hit read, it will be Alan's voice actor will read all the lines of the manuscript page and go down the line. There is a lot of people who will edit them all together so that it's like one giant basically audio book and has all the backgrounds and the music running and stuff. I really can't wait for that because that'll be a fun way just to sort of digest a lot of that information. But again, yeah, it was that was my week. I was
nice,
very good gaming week for me.
Yeah.
Preston, you want to go next?
Sure. Big week. I beat Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's a great game.
Wow.
The last time we were on, I was on the last stage level area. So all I have is that.
Did they do the thing that happens in most Mario, where like the super hard worlds open up?
Yes,
out, like the
I
extra,
only saw one of those, but it's definitely it's almost like the Super Mario. It's almost exactly like the Super Mario World Star World. To we get to a spot and it teleports you to like a section that has like all the difficult areas, like a little hub section in the middle. I only saw one of those like naturally. I haven't like found them outside that, so I can go back and find them if I wanted to. But
you run into one like way too early in that game, like in the first or second world.
Yeah,
Allie and I ran into it, and we're just like, yeah, okay, no thanks.
I finished that one, yeah, but it's
you did it. You did it all.
It's the first one. That first one that you get, that first level.
But the whole. Oh, not the whole like world.
Not
There's
the whole
like
section. Yeah, no, I only found one of those naturally. Like I didn't like just stumble across any of the other ones. They're in there somewhere. You got to find them.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not find those. But yeah, played through all of it. It was great.
So question. I assumed when we discovered the world, you would beat the first one and it would give you a path. But that's not the case. You just unlock one level and then you have to find the others and it teleports you to the second or the third or the fourth, so on, right?
A lot like Super Mario World, Star Worlds, to where you couldn't just like find the one Star World section and then go to all the other ones. You had to find those sections that bring you in there and then to get to all those. And there's a hub section to where you can get like stickers or whatever or badges.
Yeah.
Right. Because in this one, I don't think we ever talked about it, but this game also has like Christian badges to like give you modifiers. So if I want to have an extra double jump, or if I want, I can hit the lava once and it bounces me out of it. There's a lot of small modifiers you can kind of get to kind of like maybe it's better for this level. And on occasion, if
but
you can
only use one.
You can only use
You can
one.
only use one at a time.
But
it's tricky.
Yeah, when you die, you can just reset your badge. But there was 1 or 2 levels to where it's like at a certain point they're like, maybe you should attach this one. It would help you out. I'm like, I'm just following the lava out. I don't need the lava badge. We're fine. Stop it. But it was a lot of fun. I loved it. The polish is there, 1,000%. It gets crazy weird. All the little wonder flowers that you find that kind of change up the level and do something different with it. Sometimes, like you're looking at, all of a sudden it's like a top-down version of Mario you're running around the entire level with. Or sometimes you turn into an enemy, you do weird things with there. It's been a lot of fun, and each one of those do something slightly different. So it's been a lot of good time. The multiplayer in it's really cool. I know you're playing a local co-op at Alex, but there's like a different level of that on top of there. So I just turn on like the multiplayer, if you will, the online aspect of it, and there's ghosts of everyone else playing, or not everyone else, but like of 4 or 5 people. So like when you load in, you can have up to like 4 other people in there. You could drop little standees of yourself, so that way if someone dies, they can go back to it with your little ghost form that you get, and you can touch it and then respawn right there as a small Mario or whatever. And then there's also some ways of dropping items for other characters, or go ahead.
I was gonna say also, Christian, it's Mario Dark Souls. You can leave messages for people to give them hints, to tell them like what to do.
So I've never seen like text messages, but I've seen like standees to where like
that's what they are. Yeah,
you didn't know there was like a square block here, but somebody put their standee on top of that invisible square block. It's like, there's a square block over there. I can just hit that one, and then you can kind of do that with it. There was a couple areas to where they have it to where you gotta find these little like flower coins. And it's like, find all the flower coins, figure out how to do it. We'll give you all like the upgrades and stuff for like the power ups, and to see if you can find it. And I was going around, I couldn't find it. And all of a sudden, like, I loaded back out because I wanted to get the badge, because there's a badge that'll notify you where things are at that are hidden and give you a little spider sense, a little Mario sense. So I'm like, okay, let me put this badge on. I'm going to go back in. We're going to find that last one I couldn't find. And I got to the spot, and then I couldn't find out where I'm going. All of a sudden, I see a little ghost toadette or whatever running by, and this squeezes in somewhere. I'm like, oh, that's where I go. And then I can figure it out that way. It's a lot of like, they'll kind of give you tips and hints. And if you all finish at the same time, you're all on the flagpoles going down. You got little scores for finishing at the same time. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
The multiplayer was the online section was actually pretty cool on that one.
Actually, really quick, Preston, I did something that I totally forgot to tell you that you'll be happy to know. I can report this now.
Where are you playing it at?
Yes. So after I finished Alan Wake, I was like, I know, because I'm about halfway through Like a Dragon, so I was like, I know this is going to be done soon. I was like, so let me just do this now. So Star Wars has been purchased on the Xbox. It has been installed. It is.
I was saying, you probably got a pretty good deal on it. I saw there was some pretty good deals going on. Black Friday.
It was on sale for $40, so I was like, cool, that works. So I snagged that. It's installed and
excited for you.
It's ready to go. Yeah.
Can't wait for you to meet Scuba Stev. It's gonna be a good time.
I also can't wait.
It's gonna be fantastic.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, beat Mario Wonder. It's great. It's a good time. If you like Mario, you'll love this. If you want to co-op game with your kids or something like that, it's also a great option to do as well. Did a little GameFly dabble of something that I'm pretty sure I wanted to try out. I know we're gonna bring up on Game of the Year. I dabbled in Dredge.
He did.
So,
I saw him the other night playing.
I saw that too. Yeah,
I'm like, okay, let's just take it for, I've been warned from Christian. My deep sea fear was a thalassophobia. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, and that is the game, by the way.
Yeah, that is the game. That should have been the name of the game. But yeah, it's I started up. I'm like, okay, just a nice little. I like the art style. I like how you fish with the little meters and you press the button of the color. I'm like, okay, I get this. It's all right. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I like the style. And then nightfall hits, and I'm not near town, and that fog comes rolling in, and it gets extra fucking spoopy. And I go, okay. So I'm trying to get back to town, and just boat. I'm like, guys, another boat. What can we do with this boat coming down? I want to know what this boat does. Maybe someone will tell me something, give me a mission. Hey, you get too close to it, the boat disappears, and there's some scary ass fucking anglerfish coming at you and hitting your boat. I'm like, that got me, because I was starting to run away from it, and like it was kind of gone. It was kind of quiet, and all of a sudden, like right behind my boat, is a little thing comes up, and I'm like, oh god, and I jumped at it real good. It was an experience. But yeah, I played.
Upgrade all your flashlights first thing.
Well, I shelved it. I'm done. So.
Oh, you're done with it. You shelved the game. Okay.
I played it a little bit more. I'm like, okay, I want to see like where the story kind of goes. I'm like, I got about 3 hours in, I think. And one night I just like, okay, let's just go to the edge of the map. Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of crazy shit happens. I get to the edge of the map. A couple of nights go by. I'm like, I'm getting like the eyeballs popping up and stuff like that, but nothing really crazy is happening yet. So I didn't think I was far enough into the game, or I didn't have like my panic meter or whatever the fuck it is go up high enough. I'm not sure. So I'm doing it. I find the guy who wants all the trinkets. He's in that weird house. And then he has me go to this like cliffside area. Go to the cliffside area, talk to some people there. And it's like, hey, there's some stuff you might want to find in the cliffside area. Go in there. And they're all kind of warning me about like, oh, people have lately left. They're all like yelling at us, but we couldn't hear them. So like we're kind of just hanging out here. I go in there and it's nighttime. All of a sudden you hear the rumblings and you hear the roar. And fucking, that's when the eel came at me. And I fucking got freaked out and ran away and kind of explored a little bit more after that. But I'm like, no, I'm done with this. I thought about it. I'm like, maybe I will finish it because it's only like 8-9 hours. Like it's under 10. I'm like, I could probably finish it. I'm like, I can't do this. Not every night. Like I can't just bring myself to do it. So shelved that because I'm also playing another game that I started up that I love. It's on Game Pass called Cassette Beasts.
Yeah.
Christian has talked about loving this game. Christian underplayed how good this game is. Like, don't get me wrong, he said it was good. It's not like he didn't say it wasn't good.
I said it made it on my top of the year list.
It made it top of the year list, but it didn't really convey like how good this game actually is. Yo, if you hate Pokemon, you're not gonna like this game. All right, if you don't like that gameplay style, you're not gonna like this game. But this is such a fresh take on a Pokemon. It's not 100% Pokemon, and it's. The music you have there at the very beginning when you first get into the gramophone, it's like this soft rock song. It's I wrote it down, Wherever We Are Now, and it has this like girl like vocalist in the background. You can turn the vocals off if you want to in the menu, which I noticed. If that gets a little too much for you, because you will hear that song every time you're in town. But it's a nice little charming game that will take some fucking left turns in its story and what's going on in that world. Oh my god. Like, I was, like, telling my friend at work, I'm like, yo, I've been playing this thing called, like, Cassette Beasts. I know you're big in Pokemon, and, like, your kid likes to play games with you. I'm like, you should totally get this game. You should play this game. I got, like, to the 4-hour mark, and some motherfucker gets, like, murdered or some shit. I'm like, maybe I should go back to him and, like, tell him, like, maybe not, depending on how you and your kid are with that kind of shit. There's, like, it gets a little more deeper. It's not, like, super adult. Like, the guy didn't have, like, blood spurting everywhere. It's, like, a beam of light came down, something happened, and... he just didn't exist anymore, and they made it like, yes, he's gone. He was murdered. He was killed. He was or taken away. Who knows what's going on in the story? But it gets weird. It gets not spooky, but it gets like there's a little taste of horror in this game, of this very charming like Pokemon-esque game. But yeah, I'm loving all the names of the attacks and like all like your actions and the names of the actual beasts in there, which are super fantastic. Like I'm going on a quest now, and you can get multiple partners with you. It's you and someone else who's usually coming around with you, and you kind of have like
5.
You have like social links with those people, so if you do the missions with them, the social links go up, whatever. So her name starts with the M, but it's the one you go, and you're looking for like a record with her. I just started that one up. But her little beast that she brings with her is, what is it? It's like Telekitty or something like that, but it's a cat with like a television on.
Telekitty. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it is.
And it is perfect. Like all these names, like they got going in. It's.
Would you say it's perfect?
I see what you did there.
Mute this man.
Yeah. But it's really good. We can't say too much about the story because I think that like ruins the surprise of what like this game is actually about. But it's bar none. If you have any interest in like a Pokemon-like game, like this will be 100% for you. It's very, very, very good.
Yeah,
it's on Game Pass. So check it out.
The nicest way that I can say it is like it's not. There's a lot of things like Temtem is a great example of something that just tried to be Pokemon, right? Like it was, and so it's like that. This is not that. This is like a game in the same genre. Like this is like Resident Evil versus Dead Space. Like no one would say they're the same game. They're two games in the same genre. I think by the end of it, and even before that, but in my opinion, by the end of it, Cassette Beast does enough to completely divorce itself from being like, oh, this is just Pokemon, but with this twist. It's like, no, this is its own thing.
Yeah. So let me ask you. You said it's on Game Pass, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to Pokemon games. I've played old school Pokemon. I played Arceus a while back. Is it gonna make your Game of the Year lists? Meaning, like, do I need to go play this before we have our conversation?
Yeah, I already said it is on my list.
It should definitely be something that you check out.
Okay.
Give the first like 2 hours. If you don't like it after the first hour and a half, like you're not gonna like this game.
Sure.
But I
And
guarantee
it's
you, it'll get you for sure. I think you'll
Since
like
it's on Game Pass, you and Preston can try the co-op.
Can't do co-op online right now. Co-op
Oh,
online.
right, yeah, you can't do it online. Yeah, it's only local.
But
only.
sooner or later we'll get that. Maybe we'll just wait for the DLC, or if that had happened, then play the DLC together. That'd be cool. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Today was the day I finally got to the point to where, so when you're battling, what happens is, Christian has explained this before, but you got cassettes. That's how you record people. The cassettes are like your Pokeballs, but you're not throwing the cassette out there and the monster comes out. Like, you just transform into that monster when you're playing the cassette. So when your life meter goes out for the monster, you are down there, and that's you and your life meter now. If your life meter depletes, you go back to town. Or if you don't get your life meter depleted by the next turn, you could transform into another one of your beasts in your team, which you can have up to like
Yeah,
4.
you just switch out the tape.
You switch out to the beasts. I've gotten to the point now to where I'm facing people who have more than one cassette, and I destroy them before they get to their second cassette, so they can't play their second Pokemon or beast, if you will. So
Yeah,
like
that's
my last hit like gets them down, and he hits like the character or the I don't know, not trainees, but like people you find on the wilderness that you fight.
Yeah.
And I take them down, like their health is pretty low, and then the next character does my next attack before they transform, and it takes them all the way down. It's like, nope, they can't play their next monster. I'm like, awesome. That is fucking
And
cool.
there's overflow damage too, right? So like if
Yes.
you get somebody who's transformed and they like the monster only has like, 10 health left. If I do a move that does like 200 damage or whatever, it'll take that 10 and eat that 10, but then the rest of the damage will then transfer to themselves.
And all the
in their
attributes
regular
transfer
body.
too. So if your monster was poisoned, or if they have like melee that does more damage to them, that'll transfer to your character as well once you're out of the transformation. The fusions are super fucking cool. The fact that you and your other partner, every single different type has a different fusion. It's not like, okay, well, these rock and this electricity one, they're all going to be the same rock electricity guy. No, they are the same.
It's
the
specific
looks,
by monster.
the looks
Yep.
are also in there too. So it's very cool. I'm evolving people. Real quick, Christian, as far as how evolving goes, 'cause I think I must have missed it. So you have your cassette, your monster's little cute faces on there, and then you got like dots and then hearts, right? So the more you play with them, the more hearts you get. But like, I don't understand when you evolve it, because I was like, oh, evolve now. And it's like, I don't think I had the hearts for it to evolve.
I got confused by this too, because they set the heart thing automatically, and it doesn't explain. All the heart thing is that monster is favorited. So you can just press unfavorite and the heart goes away. It's not
But
like
there's
a
multiple
thing.
slots, aren't there, for like multiple hearts?
The slots are, when you look, those are stars. So there's stars that you'll see. Those are what's matter. So 5 stars means if it can evolve, your monster will evolve at 5 stars. The heart covers up part of it, and it makes it look like it's a slot thing. If you just hit unfavorite, all those hearts go away, and then you won't see them anymore, and it won't matter. But then you'll be able to see where the stars are at there, and that's all you need to look for. It's just 5. Once it hits 5 stars, they can.
I haven't really been paying attention too much. It's just more like, hey, I finished my rest, and it's like, oh, you want to evolve? And then there was one that was really cool, Alex, to where it evolves, but it's like, okay, well, choose between these two options. Are you a person who like in battle is about honor? Are the person that's all about victory? And then it'll be a different evolution for whichever one you choose for that beast.
Which I think is a way better choice to do it, as opposed to the arbitrary
night and day,
sort of,
or happy or sad,
or like, oh, does it have this kinds of moves, and did you feed it this color?
Is it holding this
cool,
item?
then it does this.
Yeah.
Or whereas this time it just asks you a question straight up, and you're like, yeah, this, and then it does it.
Then my Sandshrew guy turned into a really cool like Triton looking dude. It's fucking awesome. It's great.
It's fucking rules, yeah. And I love the name isn't even called evolving. They call it remastering.
Yes,
it's
remastering.
in like the track is
that makes
you're
makes
remastering
sense.
the track. It's
they do
such
such a great
idea.
job.
Yeah.
That music all together. It's phenomenal. Been loving it.
Do you feel the same level of frustration I felt at Game Freak, where you're sitting there, you're playing the game, and you're like, this is a team of like 15 people, you are a bazillion-dollar company. What the fuck are we
I'm
doing?
waiting for like the ball to drop on this thing at all times. I'm like, okay, when is this game going to become like, okay, it's not that great, or okay, here's the gimmick, or okay, this is
Yeah, it
being
doesn't
repeated
happen.
over and over again.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. The game is just fucking phenomenal. Like I'm waiting for it to turn into a bad game or just a mediocre game. Like it's not happening at all. In like the 6 hours I've played so far of like a 20-hour game.
It's your Nintendo conversation, man. People show up, just slap your name on it. New Pokemon game and
Me and Christian didn't show up for the last Pokemon game.
money.
Yeah.
Starting.
This is the first
It's
one I didn't
happening.
show up for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, it's two of you. Just two of you.
It's happened
Not
to a
say two
lot of
can't make a
people.
difference.
That's all it can be, man. I can only control myself, man. Mr. Assassin's Creed, don't start with
It
me.
takes a drop to make a big ripple, man. I'm
Oh.
saying.
Mr. Philosophical over here.
Mr.
Right-
Motivational poster.
As
Just
Confucius says.
Preston is the cat that's just like, just hang in there, man.
I've been saying about that KOTOR shit all this time. But yeah, so we got Cassette Beast, love that. Still playing El Paso Elsewhere on the streams. That's really good. We're a little over halfway now. After watching Christian play Alex Wake the other day, I'm like, I really want to get back to that game badly. It's really good. Noir's great. The raps are great. I've been listening to, like, they have these, like, projectors in there now to where it's kind of like the radio, too, to where you press a button, it does kind of a little story. But, like, it was, like, him and Dracula or whatever, his girlfriend that he's going after. And she's like, it's just a conversation they had about whether, like, she's like, he's explaining Transformers to her, and she's asking how do Transformers fuck and make babies, essentially. Like, do they have sex? Like, how do they have sex? He's like, that's not the point. It's like they all spark and they can kind of make more, but like they don't. They're robots. They don't have sex. She's like, I'm just wondering because like there's more of them. And, like, do they have tiny baby ones? And it's just this fun conversation they're having the entire time. Like, oh, I like this. I like this a lot. There's a lot of little small pieces in there, and like the raps are fucking. Apparently, there's a whole album they made for this game.
Oh, wow.
Of just like a hip hop album, and that's just inserted throughout the levels.
So you think you're gonna finish that before the end of the year, don't you?
Oh, 100%. I got like maybe
Yeah.
2 more streams. Like it's there's
Okay.
one, there's
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
yeah, I'd say 2 more streams. I'm into it because it's a 8-hour game.
Sure.
I think you even said 7-hour game, and I've already put in 4+ hours into it, so it's good. It's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
Of course, always snapping, doing some snapping. I got Annihilus. Annihilus is the new character this week. What he does
Sure.
is
Whoever the fuck that is.
I don't even know who the fuck he is. Some
It's
green dude.
a nihilist, Christian. What are
Kinda
you
looks
talking
like,
about?
He kind of looks like
Oh,
Ultron.
yeah.
I mean, he's
Fucking
green and purple. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares?
Jobber
Doesn't
of
matter.
the week, I'm sure.
He's-
I
no,
can't
he's
wait.
big bad.
This will be the thing. This will be the thing that gets Jake to come after me. Is it'll be like all the times he's always coming after Alex, but then I'm like, oh yeah, Nihilus is Jobber of the week, and he'll be like, fucking fuck you, Nihilus is the coolest.
There's a good chance.
No,
that Jake
I
might
like
even
what
know who that is.
I like what Jake texts. He's like, yeah, I don't know who the F that is either.
Yeah, like Sarah. I'm like,
Nice.
oh, it's one of the biggest cards in Snap. He's like, I don't know who the fuck that is. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's that character, I guess. But yeah, he dropped him down in that lane, in your lane. Any card that is less than 0 power gets tossed over to the other lane. So there are characters in there that have like negative 10 power, but there's like some cool buff they have. What you could do is drop that character down, get the cool buff, and then toss all that negative points over to the other side for the opponent to have.
Oh, okay.
So
I
here's
see.
the bad part about it.
This game has changed so much, and even like the year like I played it,
It's
like there was no
insane.
negative power things
It's
a
insane.
year ago, and this.
So here's the thing:
So much.
if your cards do not have negative power on that side, they get destroyed. So I've been doing it to where like you get one lane where you pull on your negative power people, you toss it over, or if they have like a bad ongoing, like Electro gives you extra on reveal as far as energy to spend, and then for the rest of the game, he's like, all his ongoing is you can only play 1 card. So I can play that, get my extra energy, and then toss them over, and then have the other team only play 1 card per round. So it's just there's a lot of things we could do with it. I literally just got it a couple hours ago. It was one of those spotlight caches. I got through the spotlight cache. It was really good. It gave me a nebula at first that I already had. I'm like, motherfucker. And then it gave me some tokens. I'm like, that's kind of all right. I'm like, I only got 1 more of these keys. I'm like, let's open up the spotlight cache again. And it was a Nihilus. I'm like, yes.
Hey man, you got that good stuff. You can
Not
Get
to
the
mention
spotlight
all the
cast,
peach-
brother.
not
Get
to
that
mention
spotlight cast,
all
brother.
those peach variants that I got this past couple weeks. Oh man, I got Storm, I got Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and then I also it was like 1 or 2 more I got. Can't remember off the top of my head right now. Silver Surfer and another one, Doctor Strange. All fantastic, all wonderful. I'm this close to getting the Psylocke one in the Conquest. I've been playing more Conquest than I ever have. I was playing it while he was playing Alan Wake too the other day, and just making up all the points so that way I can get that sick Psylocke variant from Peach Momoko. I'm excited.
So he was definitely barely paying attention to your playthrough.
No, because I just toss the turn, and then I don't care if I lose or not. I'm just trying to play it normally. I'm not like going hardcore on it. So I was watching it while I was doing that. It's fun. It's good. Other than that, we all have only played one more game, which is, well, I mean, Alex hasn't gone to his week, but all together,
I was going to talk about it in my week.
we played some Halo 5.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Oh yeah.
It's fun. I mean, thank you, Jake and Christian, for carrying us the entire time. But it was. I got better towards the end.
It was fun mostly. Christian got me hot. So did Jake.
Oh my
Both
God,
of them together.
Such a dramatic, and also
super upset.
he's only blaming me, which is hilarious.
I just said Jake too. I just said Jake too.
That is the first time you said that. In the text message, and I can go back and read it. It was Christian pissed me off, and that was it. Even though Jake roasted you way harder than I did.
I was so spicy.
Let the record reflect that Alex started it with me. I didn't say anything, to which then Alex goes like, just immediately comes like, well, you know, by the way, last match I had
No. You
Yes.
made one simple comment to me before that, and I followed up. Yeah.
What was the comment?
I don't remember specifically what you said, but you said something, and I followed. It was in that game, and I followed up with the. Well, I did
tell you
die
what I
last
said.
last game.
That's
what I followed up with.
You were 0-8, and so I didn't even say anything mean. I just said, "Damn, Alex." I said 0-8, and I didn't laugh. I'm laughing now, but I didn't laugh then. I just said, "Damn," as in like, "Oh, it's like we're having a tough time." I didn't say anything about you being trash or anything like that. I just happened to see it, and you immediately got defensive.
Tone.
No, it was not, and it was you got so heated. You were like, well, I mean, last game I had less deaths than you, and I was like, yeah, well, the difference is that I had 26 kills and you had 9, and you were like, fuck you, like silence, stop talking immediately.
Oh, I was heated. Honestly, it's just I am also very competitive at those games, and we've talked about
the
this
next day.
we've talked about this in the past. There's a difference between me and Halo and me and Destiny for whatever reason. Like, I'm significantly better at one than the other. And I really like this Halo game, but it kills me to not be as good. And it's when we play with you guys, we're just against better competition. And I was getting destroyed. So I was already, like, heated in general.
And listeners, just so you know, Jake, like, you can tell Jake was trying to be nice to us that entire time. Like, just, like, keeping it all in there for the most part. Like, just seeing our numbers and, like, knowing that he's carrying and being like, we're not losing by a lot usually when we lose. So it's usually by a couple points. And knowing that he's putting all his points on the board and he looks at me or, like, Alex and sees, like, 3-8. Or, like...
We split our games, though. I think we won as many as we lost that night.
Yeah.
Game, sure. Yeah, I mean, I was just happy to get to the ones that actually had, like, control points or something to where I didn't have to worry about my kill streak. Because then I'm like, okay, I can actually contribute to this win because I can actually hold down the fort sometimes and not have to worry about my kill streaks.
So there's one that I'll open up a little bit within this. Alex was so mad at me for my one, again a comment he brought on by himself, but he was so mad that what he didn't hear at the end of that match, he completely didn't hear it because he was already so furious at me. But the match that you ended up doing, like 1-15, like the one that you had, it was a really bad time.
Yeah.
Fucking at the end of it, I was in tears. I laughed so hard, and I know you didn't hear it. But Jake at the end of it goes, he goes, absolutely astronomical numbers out of Alex that match. And I thought it was so fucking funny. And I just don't hear, I was like, oh, I know but I was like, if Alex would have heard that, he'd have snapped his controller right there. But I'll also peel back the curtain a little bit with Preston. What you were saying is, you know, that Jake was being mad. Leading up to that, when we were playing, Jake was sending me messages of his like, you and me tonight carrying Preston and Alex, and it was just different memes of like people just like dragging dead weight like across the thing. It was so funny. I'm not even gonna say it because
I don't mind joining. Just you're gonna know that you're gonna be carrying me the entire way through. That's what you get for inviting me. So,
and I will say that last match that Jake closed out on, the King of the Hill match that we did, man, what a fucking A1 comeback from us on that one. That was great. We crushed that one. That was
good.
you could hear it in Jake's voice. He needed that win. He was happy to have that win. He was like, I am ready to turn this game off. I am good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. So yeah.
Real quick before we get into Alex's week, one last little thing. I have a little extra hour and I started playing my own solo. I don't know how much I'm gonna get into this, but my own solo run of Baldur's Gate 3. So I just wanted to get a little refresh because the only time we played it was with a group, and it was like we're not all getting the story beats and stuff like that. So I'm like, let me see just for a solo dolo experience. Let's go through this. And I got about a little bit through it, about an hour through it, and man, I've said it multiple times. Great game, story's phenomenal. Going through all the characters, and getting your party filled up while you're playing the solo is completely different. So.
I bet
one hour down, 123 to go.
Oh yeah, it's I'm more just want to get the taste of it, so that way for Game of the Year I can help better represent it than playing the co-op with us.
To be honest, as long as you're not, which you never really do this in a lot of games anyway, but unless you're really scraping the map and trying to get every single thing, I bet if you didn't plan on playing any other games for the rest of the year, I bet you could get.
I'm sure, but
yeah.
No, the new Hellboy game's on sale. I want to get to that one before the end of the year. There's a couple of games I want to get to more before the end
Christian, I think Christian said he did 120 something, which you did a middle run of you got what you got and you didn't go out of your way. I scraped.
No, that's not true. I did everything.
All the quests, but you didn't go for. Did you go for? You did everything? Everything?
Yeah.
Okay, I did everything, and it took me 150 hours. And my playtime was 160 or 70, but that's because Steam just counts when it's on.
Well, I'm
pause.
sure if I mainline,
I think it took me
40, 50 hours.
I think it took me 140, 150.
The difference is that I did a Dark Urge playthrough and you didn't.
Yes.
So there's things that I saw that you didn't see, and there's things that you saw that I didn't get because it locked me out of certain things.
Yeah.
There's no way to do a full 100% playthrough of this. You have to do you are going to miss stuff regardless. But yeah.
Yeah. It was so freaking good.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So my week, let's start with Halo. So we were just talking about it. So I played Halo, not just with these guys, every fucking day since. Because I find it unacceptable that I get carried as much as I do. So I've been playing nothing but, well, that's not true. I've been playing a lot of SWAT. 1 second. Let me get this treat for this dog who is trying to tear up my couch.
I'll see and say he was like, I refuse to be carried by you guys, so I'll be playing every day so that I can keep training, and then one day I'm gonna start a new Xbox Live account and then stalk you guys so I can do it. And I was like, hey, it's important to have dreams, man.
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of SWAT and some I've been doing the normal playthrough, the Mountain Dew crossover thing, the revamped Halo 3 maps, only because of the XP and to finish off the challenge. So all my weekly challenges, all my daily challenges, all that good shit. But yeah, I like the game. I like having a go-to multiplayer shooter, and Destiny just can't be. Destiny is not that game, and I'm sure as hell not gonna ever play Fortnite or Call of Duty again. So this is it, and it's good. And it sounds incredible on my computer with my headphones and my soundbar. So nothing sounds better in that game.
You've also found a new way to get Jake's ire by saying that you enjoy Halo Infinite.
Sure, enjoy, yes. With that being said, we've talked about this. I'm also not in ranked yet, although I almost started some ranked games the other day just because, I need that ranked competition if I'm gonna...
This is just my opinion, and this is not... I know that there's not a lot of options for a lot of people, and this is not This is not a cop-out for 343, or not even just 343, but any company that tries to do ranked, because I don't think I've ever seen a community be happy in that regard. But... me personally, you would never catch me in a ranked playlist unless I had 4 people. It's just not because no matter what, there will always be a random. Even if I get paired with a random who, 10 out of 11 games does perfect. Mm-hmm. It's good that one time that it's the 11th game, it will be with me and it'll piss me off, and I'll be like, all I needed you to do was just do something. I just need something from you.
So the promising thing with me playing is I'm not playing with you guys, so I'm actually with people of my skill level, and I'm always top 2, just flat out top 2. right? So I just need the ranked to get to your all skill level, so I'm not being carried so damn much. But it's fun.
What do we call him in fighting games, Preston? The Basement Warriors? That's what Alex is. Yeah.
I'm gonna train so hard. I'm gonna train so hard and show you guys so much.
I'm the best in my neighborhood, and then you show up to your locals and you get fucking stomped, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, the best on your street, and you find out there's some dude.
I know the people.
Godly.
Yeah, the people. I would assume there's times where I get as annoyed as Jake does when I'm playing against people at my level, because I just look around. I'm like, what? Just play the game style. Please capture the flag.
And then you have to remember that you're getting angry at 6-year-olds.
Yeah. So anyway, I played a lot of that game. Having fun playing Halo. It's fine. Having fun.
It's a good game. You can just. It's okay.
It is.
Jake can't hurt you all the way in St.
Not a
Louis.
horrible game.
With that being said, Jake, if you see me on in the morning, I don't know if I'm up to your standards, but I will play with you and your dad.
You have to carry him less now.
If you invite me over. I mean, yeah,
Could
eventually.
Jake, if you're listening to this, I need you to record it for me if it happens. The thing that I would love is if he does.
His dad starts trolling me.
And his dad starts roasting Alex. I
want a record of that.
Not only that, but then I need the sound wave for it so I can get a sound wave tattoo so that I can scan it and play it whenever I want to.
No, you're just gonna put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would be really funny. Like, I would install the game and never play again.
Yeah, he would uninstall, and he would put his Xbox profile on private so nobody could ever see him on. Yeah. Oh, that would be it for you.
Which I think it is private now, to be fair, just because I don't like people knowing when I'm on, certain people knowing when I'm on. But
well, the Xbox platform is a little thing for you, but yeah.
That's so funny. Anyway, what other games did I play? We played Final Fantasy. We talked about that.
How far are you in World or Wonder?
Yeah. So we are on the second world, about to go to the boss.
The cloud level.
On the second world.
The Puff Palace.
Yeah. And dude, so Allie and I finally hit our first slam your head against a wall level for a little bit. That probably took us 20 times to beat. It was this one. So
does it involve music?
Yeah, so we commented
that one. I know which one.
We commented
that fucking
earlier. We're like, man, we feel like some of these levels took pull us from other places, like Sackboy, right? Like
it feels so much like Sackboy. Yes,
it does.
You. Like the overworld and everything.
Yeah, and there's this level where Christian, you have to jump on platforms that are invisible, but they only show up on the beat, but then they disappear after a while. And it's not like Mario they show up, disappear. Yeah. It's they as you're progressing, they'll show up in front of you, and the ones behind will disappear. So you have to stay along with it. And that one probably took us 20 times. Yep. And I would have beat it normally anyway, but just as an insurance thing, in the last 10 tries, we turned on the extra block badge. And the extra blocks did not help jumping along the way, but the very end is one long stretch. And I kept getting to the top of that long stretch, and it would just pass me, and it would just fall off right at the end. So what it did is it gave you, on the last half of that, pink blocks below that would not disappear. So if they fell, you still make it. But the one time I beat it, I didn't even need them. I was frame perfect on it. But it took 30 times. Oh yeah, it took 30. It was insane. It was good. But Wonder's great. I tell you, even with the Mario cartoony look to it, they've made it really pop on the Switch. This game looks fantastic. I love the elephant. It's fun. The elephant doesn't take shit. It just kills anything. It's
got squeeze into pipes too. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. But the thing I like the most, these Wonder Seeds are really good. To Preston's point, what happens is you can finish the level like normal, but there will be a Wonder Seed in each level, and it completely changes the Wonder Flower. It completely changes the look, and it kind of goes almost night mode, if you will, and the colors are different and it's shiny, but some mechanic will be different, whether it's top down, whether it's running backwards, whether it's whatever. Everyone has been different. We have yet to come across a reused mechanic, which is really impressive for these things.
Got really negative on that.
Yeah, so Wonder is super, super good. We're really liking that. With that being said, I do want to pick up RPG Mario before Game of the Year and try it out. just to see
Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, the RPG version of Mario. Yeah. I want to pick that up and try it out before the end of the year to see if it's.
It was like I need to pick up RPG Mario, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I was just saying RPG since we were talking on Mario. I was like, in case anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the Mario one. Dog, please stop tearing cat toys up. I know you're mad. You're in the room. Chill out. So, sorry if you can hear that. So yeah, Wonder has been really good so far, and they did a really cool design with the first boss. So the first boss being one of Koopa's kids, right? You fight him like normal. You pop on his head, and the second time, he uses magic to make you really big for no reason, and like you have to do the same thing. Like you have to dodge a couple attacks and bop him on the head. But it's a really well done thing because it shows you like, hey, now we're gonna flip it. And he's going to be really big, and you're going to be ultra small, but you know what to do now, right? So it's like a little nice touch in game design to show you what you're going to have to do and how to do that mechanic without just like giving you a pop-up to do it, which was really cool. Sure. So there's been a lot of detail in the game, and it looks fantastic. So Wonder's great.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I've played, of course, Like a Dragon. I'm a little bit behind Christian, but I'm catching up. Like I'm going to try and beat Chapter 2 tonight just to make it through. I like that it's shorter game. I like that it's like focused, on point. This is what it is. And then I think that's probably it. I think that's what I've been bouncing between, right? Mario,
Outside
Halo,
of video booking.
outside of what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, but I think that's everything that I've played. So you guys can't see this. I have a pile of stuff beside me. No, I have a blanket that she was trying to tear up. I have a pillow that she was trying to tear up. I have a ball that was like squeaking, making a ton of noise. I have this like cat scratch box. Like she just keeps going and finding things and bring it over, and I just am piling. It's like
have this.
Here. It's insane.
Don't have this.
My comic is over here that she got a second ago. Nuts. Anyway. So yeah. So that I think was my week. But yeah. Let's with that being said, let's get to it. We're an hour and 22 minutes in, which is perfect because this version of the book club probably won't be as long. What are you doing? So all of my pops just fell off of my nightstand. Cool. Or off of my television stand. I just heard like a bang. Sorry, she has me distracted. So I said we were going to go to Soros. That's the name of the second boss in the red step. Originally is what I said last week. However, when Cernos, no. Sauros is the second one. The first boss is Cernos.
Thank you.
I said last week when we talked we were going to go to the red step and go to the second boss. However, playing it this week, my playthrough was a little bit longer. So I told the guys like, hey, let's go ahead and do this and stop after Cernos, the first boss. We'll stop at the red step. But in talking to them, their playthrough wasn't as long for reasons we'll discuss here in a few minutes. So this next one maybe we'll do a little bit longer. Like we'll catch up. We'll do like 3 or something. But yeah, let's talk about the Pathless. So as we said before, like the reasons why I picked it because of like timing, I think it'd be a good game to play here at the end of the year. It's more of a casual game, story-based game. But the thing I find fascinating about this game, and we'll talk more about it when we finish it, is just like it came out for PS4 and PS5. It was a console game, and it was one of the games that came out like into the early part of Apple Arcade's life cycle that was supposed to like propel the streaming platform to like what everybody else is, to Game Pass and everything else. Like this was gonna be the thing. Interestingly enough, that game is not there anymore, which will be part of that discussion that we have when the game is done. I still have it on my iPad. When you tap on it, it goes middle finger, can't play. Sorry, just not
That's
there.
fucking crazy to me, by the way. And I know we already had this topic a long time ago, but boy, does the case for physical media start rearing its head over and over again, because that is fucking wild that you can pay for something and then press a button and they just go, oh, sorry, that's not yours anymore.
Well, you got through a subscription, Christian.
I've 100%ed this. I've beat it once and 100%ed it once, so I've actually beat it twice. And, like, you can't even go into the menu and, like, see my playthrough. It can't even see, like, the 100% or whatever. Like, it just straight up, like, when you tap on the app, it says it cannot be played, and it led me down a rabbit hole to see like what other games have left Apple Arcade. So like I don't know if you guys have heard of Oceanhorn, but Oceanhorn's a great Apple Arcade game that was made by some people that worked on Skyward Sword. And since then, they've come out with Oceanhorn 2 and a dungeon crawler Oceanhorn. That dungeon crawler is gone. So I have that app on my iPad. Same thing. Boop. Nothing. Doesn't. Sorry. You don't have access to this. So, yes, that'll be a conversation we'll have towards the end. The effect that this game had on Apple Arcade, it's not there. I don't think that had anything to do with anything. Just the fact that, like, it is not there. We'll talk about that, too.
Yeah, sure.
But this game is made by Giant Squid, produced by Annapurna. So Giant Squid did Abzu. Preston called this out last time. Austin, is it Wintry? Wintry. The person that did the music for Journey. So he's in this game. Or he did the music here. So there's a big pedigree. There's actually, we'll talk about this too. There's 2 other really special people in this game, which I think is hysterical in a moment. Which, well, we talk about now. It's the voice actors. Okay. So I don't know if you guys know, there's some dialogue in this game. Yep. Not a whole lot of dialogue, right? As you've probably noticed, there's just a little bit, and it's not even a language that makes sense. It's like this made up universe language, right?
Yep.
The voice actors in this game are Troy Baker.
Okay.
Right. For somebody that spoke maybe in your playthrough 4 lines or 3 lines in a language that's not even a real. And then the other person is Laura Bailey. I don't know if that name rings a bell.
I could have guessed it, Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey is a massive voice actor.
Yeah, she's huge. I love Laura Bailey, especially because if you watch like Roll 20 or whatever, or Critical Role, she's on Critical Role. So yeah, they got both of those actors
for sure.
Oh, I mean, yeah. If you want, like, not just a game, like she's been in Dragon Ball Z, she's been in Full Metal Alchemist, so animes. But to your point,
she
Preston,
took over Bayonetta from the Crazy Lady.
Yep.
She was Rain in Blood Rain. If you want to go way back in the day, she's Gianna Proudmoore in World of Warcraft. She's been in Persona 4, Persona 3, Final Fantasy 13, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I mean, like, literally everywhere. Last of Us Part 2, everywhere.
I didn't know she was Jaina in World of Warcraft. That's crazy.
I didn't either until I was reading that. I was blown away. You obviously did not pay them much because this game was developed. By the end of development, it was made by 33 people, right? Yeah. Small studio. You did not pay them. But, like, I would assume...
you might have. I don't know. Annapurna...
Annapurna has a lot of money, so that's fair. But, like, you could have gotten anybody to voice act the minute voice acting that's in this game.
There's something about that, there's that name that, like, like, if you're, like, a game and it's got... And the title card comes across and it's like Troy Baker and Laura Bailey. Like, people are automatically gonna be like, "Oh shit!" Like, they'll take a more look at it. Yeah.
I guess, but like it might as well be the freaking
it's the
Peanuts
same
voice acting. The people come on, they're like, bro, and you're just like, okay.
It's the same reason why they're gonna call out the fact that Austin Wintry is doing the music here, even though most of the time when a game gets shown, the composer is not listed anywhere, right? But like,
true.
When a new 14 trailer drops, you're damn sure gonna be like, music done by Soken, because everybody's like, oh fuck, it's hit. Like, you have to try to grab people.
There are certain people you can name drop like that in the music world. Video games.
To be fair, the music is a much bigger part of this game than the voice acting is. So.
Music is a massive part of any game, but it never gets called out that way.
Right, but in this one specifically, it's much bigger than the voice acting. So it's funny. So there's a lot of people that worked on this game. It was a small studio. They started with like 10, 15 people to make this game, ended up in 33. And it was always planned to be an Apple Arcade launch alongside with PlayStation as well. And it ended up coming out. Right now it's on Xbox, it's on Switch, it's on everything, ironically, except for Apple. So... so let's get into it. Basically, you are dropped in this world. We are on the ocean, you're on a boat, and you are a female protagonist. And you are what they call a hunter. And essentially what has happened is the world at large is being threatened by some sort of dark force and dark evil. And as a hunter, you have gone to the furthest island at the end of this world where you've tracked like where this darkness is coming from, and you are there to stop it. Now,
and you're the last hunter too.
You are the last hunter.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the last hunter. Everybody else is gone. No one has come back. And on this island, where this darkness is coming from, is an island where all the great ones live. I think they're called
Tall ones.
Tall ones live. Essentially, the tall ones are kind of like god-like creatures.
Like
and I say,
yeah.
yeah, I say creatures because they're not humanoids. They're creatures, which we'll actually get to in a minute.
Like
but
a
yeah,
deer.
that's like a deer, like a big elk. So
like spears, yeah.
that's the world we have been dropped into. Right out of the gate, you have this really pretty aesthetic, this very paint-like animated art style. And the thing that stood out to me when we first got into it is like the music is fantastic. It's a little like Asian inspired or Asian influenced, but also just very melodic, and there's like some wind instruments in it, so it's pretty calming. But it really, to me, stood out as you're here on the ocean when you get to the island. So we get to the island, and there's not a whole lot there. You kind of have to figure out your own way around. And the thing that makes this game unique is their traversal. So the director was saying with a game, they wanted an open world game that had no fast travel points. So in order to do that, they wanted to make traversing the world really quick and really easy. So what they came up with was you, as the hunter, using your bow to shoot these little floating icons around the world, and every time you get like a perfect shot off, or every time you get a shot off, you get a percentage of your boost bar that helps you sprint. If you get a perfect shot, you get more, and it just keeps up the string. So if you hit a few of those strings in a row, like you get moving really quick around this world. And we'll see that progress as you go throughout the game. Like we get we get a way that we can like jump in the air, float for a second, and bounce up again. And then by the end of the game, you can do that a bunch of times. You can go ridiculously high and other stuff. So there's some unique things they do. But that's what we run into. So right out the gate, we're on the beach. We're making our way. We learn how we're going to move. And we come up on like a cave. And in the cave, we see a dead body laying on a pedestal. And they have a spirit mask. And what do? We pick up this spirit mask off of this dead body without asking questions or anything and just slap it on our face, because that's never turned out poorly. Were you gonna say something, Christian?
No, yeah, it's just like she walks out and she's just like, "This is mine now. I'm just gonna put it on my face." That's
we're gonna assume that
germs be damned.
We're gonna assume that the land she comes from with the other hunters, these spirit masks must be an everyday occurrence.
They know about
because
them.
they know about them, because she like did not care. She's like, boop, on my face. And the first thing,
I think it'd be one thing too if she found like one of the dead, and it was just like some dead dude that was on the ground or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, you won't be needing this. I'll take this from you. This was like very clearly like a burial chamber, and it was like on this tomb. So like this was like this person was laid to rest here, and you're just like, that's mine, thanks. You just walk off.
And we don't know who this person is. I'm gonna guess though, like just by context, it's got to be some sort of priest or protector of this island and the deities. Because it is like you come off the beach, you go into a cave, that's what you find, right? It's not like you find statues, you don't find anything else. And then once you grab that spirit mask, then when you get that past that, and we'll talk about it in a second, it opens up into the whole world, right? So he's like, in my opinion, the last line of defense. And without that spirit mask, you can't progress forward because the wall is shut. It's invisible to you. So that's what it kind of seems like to me. Like, he is the protector of these deities on this island of the Tall Ones. So you put on the mask, you can do two things. You can now see, actually, you can do three things. You can see important areas. They kind of light up red around the map, so it helps you navigate. You can read the language and commune with the dead. So you can like read these tablets that give you lore, or commune with the dead that give you lore, because you will find skeletons laying around the island, other hunters that have been here and have died. And you can see invisible walls, and that's how we progress to the next area. So we use the mask, say, oh, we can walk through here, and it opens up. And as soon as we're opened up, we come to a little knoll, and there's a giant eagle. Just like massive, massive, massive eagle. And this eagle is the, what do they call it? The Great Mother, I believe? The Eagle Mother, or the Great Mother, which is in the lore of this world, the Eagle Mother created the world, created the island, and then the other deities who will come across in this game are her children. But she is the one that has started everything, and we see that like she's in a little bit of distress. She can't really fly. She's kind of laying down. So we go around, do a couple of puzzles, and we go back. We're like, hey, let us help you out. And as soon as we go to help her, what happens? Troy Baker, in all of his glory, shows up to ruin.
I did not know who Troy Baker was, but right on. Yeah.
Because he doesn't speak. I mean, it's not Troy Baker's voice. It's not like, oh shit, Troy Baker. It's just like, okay, cool. So this great evil, our antagonist shows up. He's floating above her, and we are like, hey, you're not going to screw with the Eagle Mother. I'm going to whip out my bow and arrow. I'm going to shoot you. And we learn very quickly that, like, we're in the wrong place.
Put in your place immediately, yeah.
Immediately. Like, one big sword swipe sends us flying, and he's floating, and it's like, idiot. Like, you're running along the ground. I'm literally flying and appeared out of nowhere with this giant sword. Like, what are you going to do? In fact, let me show you how powerful I am while you're laying down there. Let me kill the Eagle Mother right in front of your eyes. And that's what he does. Just straight up. Like,
just
kills.
Not just like deletes. Like, you're just like, this is gone now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while also talking shit to you, being like, by the way, who are you? Blah. Like, I mean, like, it's like, doesn't even, is like, you're barely registering with me, but just to show you, like, what level, I'm going to delete this deity just because.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, like, how underpowered, and you see why everybody is dead, right? So it's a pretty jarring intro, but it makes sense. Like, this is what's going to drive us forward. Now, luckily, the Eagle Mother reincarnates not as a deity, but as a smaller eagle. And this eagle then becomes our companion that we're going to carry through the rest of the game. And the eagle serves a couple of pretty cool purposes. So the eagle, from this point into the next point before we get into the game proper, helps us get through the tutorial area where we can send the eagle out to get like heavy things and set on like trap door switches and other stuff. The eagle can also help us float when we jump, and as we get more power-ups, we can hit A and like will shoot us up in the air, so it can give us like multiple like lifts, if you will. So the eagle's pretty functional. We'll play a pivotal role moving forward, but that's what we have. So as soon as we do that, we are into the world proper. We come up to the forest plateau. This is where we're at. So let me pause here and ask, like, initially, you've probably played 20 minutes or so. You've learned the game. You've learned the mechanics. You see the antagonist and so on. What are you thinking at this point? How you feel?
Any more question?
Yeah, so for me, from second one, this feels like an Annapurna joint. Like, the second you pick, you're just like, damn, this is Annapurna, like through and through, 100%. In general, I think it's really good. There's this weird thing where like I'm just like, damn, they really know what they're going for when they're trying to publish a certain game. Like, they're just like, yep, it needs to hit these marks, and when it hits these marks, we're publishing it, we're done. That's it. But so far, I really dig it. The first thing that I noticed was going through, I really like, I'm sure that this was exactly how the developers intended it, now hearing your story about what they were doing with the open world and the movement. But I literally was like, when I'm walking forward at first, I was like, this place is awfully big for me to be moving this fucking slow. Like, I was like, they need to do something about this expeditiously. And then as soon as you start shooting, I was like, fair enough, makes sense. So then I start cruising through, and I'm like, all right, this is cool, I can do it. I really love the animations of all of the different ways that she can shoot. Like, there's times where she's like flipped basically almost all the way back and like sliding on her knees to get a shot off and stuff, which is really cool.
I like
but
I like the bow trails too. Like it's not just like a straight line. Like you see it kind of like move through the air and turn off and stuff. Or the arrow,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
the arrow trails, not the bow
The,
trails.
the,
but those
the
are pretty
most
cool.
disappointing thing from the gameplay perspective, though, is when you're sliding, like, the game will tell you, like, yep, you're locked in completely, do it. And then you let the shot off, and then you hear, like, a thunk because it hits a tree, and you're like, fuck you.
Good sound effect.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I really dig it. I think I love the, so I'm sure it was probably easier to get now once, like, you get the eagle and everything, but there was an achievement for keeping yourself in the air for like 6 or 7 like little or 5 like little things. I got that like really early on because I was just jumping around and doing things. And so then after you get the eagle, obviously you can glide and then keep shooting. I was like, oh dude, this is way easier now. I was like, but before I was doing it with nothing, so I'm just like free falling and shooting in between things. But yeah, it's really good so far. I really dig it. So far, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the traversal stuff with the mechanics, and then obviously, which makes sense because they got this guy to do it, but the music is like very, very like just big and like just tons of orchestral stuff going on the entire time. It's really good.
Yeah.
No, I've been loving it. So I got into it. I've seen the trailer a bunch of times. I remember Alex talking to you when it first came out. Like, I'm like, man, this looks like a game up my alley. And you're like, yeah, you can get for it. Like, maybe like wait for it to go on sale or something like that. And it just didn't come up. So when you said you're gonna play,
It never went on sale. It's like been $40 since it came out.
But yeah, and then all of a sudden, like you said, you're gonna do it for like this the game club. And I'm like, fuck yes! Like I'm so waiting to play this game. I just didn't even think about it. Totally forgot about it. Traversal's amazing. I remember seeing the trailers for it. I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. Like, let's see how it kind of feels, and it feels fantastic. You're shooting all those little symbols. Like Christian said, if you kind of miss one or it hits like a tree, you'll hear that little thunk in the distance. I got my surround sound going on while I'm playing this, so like I'll hear the thunk in the back, and it sounds real nice. Floating through everything like that. This game feels a lot like Zelda, but just faster. Because like you got all those puzzles, you got to figure out how to get everything kind of going through. It's really nice. So are you both of you playing on controller?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm playing on mouse and keyboard.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm playing through like that because I mean I'm playing on PC. I'm right here. I'm like, okay, let's just see how it goes.
MLG, you
Right?
don't gotta. Hey, look, man, you want to get world record time?
I was worried at first because I'm like, okay, well, do I have to be like super accurate with my mouse or like, so like I might move the controller if it does like a little aim assist. I'm like, no, it's gonna automatically track. It's just that's more for viewing as far as like how you can direction with your mouse. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna work out just fine. And when you first pop into the game, like I feel like I have like a wider screen TV because the perspective that they give you is much wider than you've seen in most like third person games. Like, cause when they want to show you everything, and that does not stop. Like, there's very few times like you're going into like a building or a cave, and like it gets closer to you. But when you're out in this open world, like it zooms out and it gives you a super wide perspective, which I thought was a really cool touch. Definitely helps you like kind of traverse and like I see the world around you. And if I'm gonna mention two things, if we haven't talked about them yet, or if like we're not supposed to talk about them yet, just let me know to say we'll talk about it later. But the first time you get the bird and you gotta like rustle like the feathers, like get the redness off of it or whatever, that's a lot of fun to do with a mouse. Because you are actually like doing it to it, and then like there's a plenty of times you'll see in my caption down there to where like I get done like kind of rustling it off and still let you go there, and like I'm just gonna give him a little bit right in the middle, just gonna give him a little tussle right there in the middle of the chest. It's been a good bird. I loved that. It's very good touch with the mouse. I liked it a lot. Yeah. And so going through all that, Austin Wintory's score is amazing. I remember listening to that score like when it first came out. I love the score. There's timpanis in the right spots. Like the winds are great. And there was one spot like right before we get to that main section. Like you go into the tutorial, you get to the bird thing, everything like that for the eagle mother, and that's when you get the bird and it shoots you up through that gust of air, and that's when you get to the first section, which we're going to probably talk about later, is the plateau. And the score kicks in, and it was like, it took me right back to that last level in Journey to where you get past the clouds and you come up. I'm like, this is that song almost. Like, if you didn't know if this is Austin Wintory, you fucking know now as soon as that song pops in. But I love this game. It feels great. I'm enjoying what I'm playing, and it's good. Good start.
I'm glad you guys like it. I've played it, like I said, I played it twice, I enjoy it, and even this time, I've enjoyed it my third playthrough as well. I agree, Christian. Like, as soon as you get into it, it feels like an Annapurna game, kind of like a Devolver game feels like Devolver.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you just kind of you know it when you see it. So it definitely feels good. So to what Preston was. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, so I just wanted to add one more thing to that. And it is not the case on this game, but I will say, and this goes for Devolver and them too, there's a certain point where I think this is going to start wearing on me, not in this game, but as releases go forward, where I'm going to be like, guys, it's okay to do something else. Like, you don't have to do the same thing over and over again. But yeah, because Devolver is a great example of another one. Like, now they're branching out a little bit. Like, Angerfoot is not like anything they've done before, right? So like, there's other stuff that they've been doing that I can get down with. But like, they just had a recent release that was like Wizard with a Gun or whatever. And if you told me that was a Cult of the Lamb like DLC pack, I'd 100% believe you. Like, I'd be like, yep, for sure, that looks just like it. And then you get and you're like, no, it's totally different. Okay, like. It's the same thing. It's like, especially to your point, Preston, like when you get shot up and you go to the next part, like you're just like, and the music starts to swell or whatever. Yeah, you're just like, oh, this is another game that you guys have produced, basically. Like,
yeah. I will give it one critique, and this is a weird little thing, but when Preston said Zelda, it kind of reminded me of something I was thinking about earlier. I wish with the Spirit Mask it served one other function, and when we first got in, I would have thought it was cooler if the antagonist showed up and you could not understand what he was saying. If he was just there, if he killed the Eagle Mother, if he smacked you around, you're just like, what? Yo, like, what the hell is going on? Like, I know you're bad, but I don't know why. Like, throughout the world, you find these big stone tablets that give you lore. It would have been cooler if you found those and that unlocked the language or gave you more insight to the language.
That'd be cool.
That would propel exploration, and I think it would have been like just a fun little touch, right?
Then in your next playthrough, maybe you get to see what Troy Baker is saying. Some of those early cutscenes, like full, right? Like
yeah,
like a
full
New Game
on
Plus thing. Yeah, I could see that.
That would have been cool, especially because this game is short enough that you can get through it pretty quickly, right?
Sure.
Once you know what you're doing and how to traverse, it's like really easy. So we're introduced into the plateau, and this is where our playthrough times differ a bit because the map is pretty big, and you see not just our place, but like it pans up, and you see the red steps, you see the snowy mountains, whatever they're called up top, and then floating above everything is like this big fiery floating island, and that is where we need to get to because that's where this evil is emanating from. But before we can do that, the Troy Baker decides to call on these different deities. So he is essentially corrupted the 4 other deities on the island, which are all the Eagle Mother's offspring, all of her kids. And the first one is Cernos, which is a spirit elk. But the spirit elk has been corrupted. So instead of being like a nice, pretty, like bringing to life spirit elk, it is just full of fire. He has 6 legs. That's normal in this. But like on each leg, he has like 2 eyes on either side. So like he has like 6 eyes on him, and you're just like, what is going on, right? And on top of all of that, engulfed around him in a huge sphere is just like corruption, like red flames, and it's like a red. Yeah, it's like a red storm, and I think that's a really cool touch because like the open world is big enough. I don't know how you guys did this, right? You get pulled into the storm first. It's part of the game. It teaches you what happens when you're in the storm. We'll go there. So when you're pulled into the storm, the mechanic is Cernos is looking around with his eye. If the light is on you, you can't move. If you don't move, he can't see you. If you move, it will instantly kill you. But there's no death in this game. Just in case you guys, if you didn't die, if you maybe die later, you'll find out.
I died.
You do not die. Okay, I say you do not die in this game. You are collecting little yellow like coins essentially that build up, and once you fill up the bar, that gives you a second jump on your eagle. Like it'll bounce up one more. If you die, that's what you lose. So it's like there's no real penalty.
You can get some back, but yeah.
I had a real irritating thing happen in this part, which was so the game. Yeah, you get pulled in the storm, and it tosses the eagle very far away, and then it's like the eagle's basically crying out, like, "Please come help me." It's very sad. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, but then the game says like, hey, when you're in the light, don't move, and then Cernos won't be able to see you. And I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. Except that as I'm walking, there's a certain point where Cernos starts walking towards me.
That happened to
So
me.
I start to like, dude, fucking piss me off. And so I'm starting to like walk to the side. The light goes on me, so I stop because the game told me to stop and not move in the light. He just walks straight forward and walks into me, so there's nothing I can do. And then as soon as he walks into me, he's like, I see you now, and then explodes. I'm like, so then what the fuck was the point? Like, what was I supposed to do here?
Probably.
It's just, yeah, fuck that. Like, if
You did get stuck in a bad spot because I had something similar happen, but I was off enough to where he walked by me. He might have passed me by inches, but he didn't touch me, so I was free. Like,
from then on, I made sure that I wasn't anywhere in his path as far as like possible.
Yeah.
I know there's gonna be a tree somewhere that's gonna be in between you and me, probably if I can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so essentially what's happening in those times is like the eagle is being corrupted and you have to quickly save the eagle. I guess not quickly, there's no time limit. But you have to save the eagle without being seen. So when you get the eagle, that's where Preston was talking about. You can rub its chest and its wings to rub out the corruption. Controller's the same as the mouse. You rub it high, you rub it low, it follows you, and you have to like do it all, which is it's just a fun little touch. Like if you're gonna make me do this, at least like
Do a little pet friend, give a little,
yeah,
little loving.
Yeah. So cool little touch, but that's what we're introduced to this corruption. Now, what I was gonna say is they do a good job. The open world is big enough to where the corruption can be in one area, and you can completely be exploring the other area and not be hindered. So I don't know how you guys did this, but like the reason it took my playthrough so long is I 100%ed the area because I know what I'm doing. Like I've done it. I know where things are. I know what to go to. I know what to do. Even most of the puzzles I remember. But I was able to do most of that. And if the corruption would be in the far side, I would be over here. And if it teleported, I would just leave and go to the next one and do what I want to do before I went to the corruption. But in the area, there are 3 huge pillars that go way up into the sky. And essentially you have to light these as a beacon, and they shine light on the corruption. And the goal is to shine the light that will hold Cernos in its spot, and then you can go fight him. But in order to do that, you have to get these medallions to essentially put in the tower and light them up. And we get the medallions through random puzzles throughout the world. Now, do you guys know how many you collected in the first world? You could get 10. The 10 is the max.
I think I only got like 3 or 4, but yeah, when you when we get to the later
you
on
only
the game,
you only need 3 to get.
Yeah, you only need 3, but you can get there's a lot of them. There's the whole tower right at the very end of the boss battle and that little stage.
Yeah,
that tower pops up. And then it shows you all the little squares that you could fill up with all the ones you can capture.
Yeah.
I missed that. I got 3, and I was like, 3 towers, 3 pieces, and then I jumped up.
Deuces. Okay. Yeah. So there's 10 you can get. And the way you find everything is the easiest way to find everything, just a hint for later if you want. Get to one of those towers, put on your spirit mask, and as it shoots out the waves, it'll highlight all the little areas in red.
It has sonar, essentially, yeah.
It does. It gives you a sonar. And the red doesn't necessarily mean there's a medallion there, but it means there's a point of interest there.
Red or yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few different collectibles, if you will, in these areas. So there are medallions. The medallions require some sort of arrow puzzle where you have to shoot an arrow through circles, but you may have to do something to make the circles appear. There are some puzzles that are just for those yellow things. So, Christian, I assume if you just got the 3 pieces and left, you had like 1 feather jump,
right?
I have
2. Because you get the 1 feather jump just by virtue of playing the game, and then when I beat Cernos, it gave me enough to get a second one.
So I have 3 because so that's one thing you'll get. You'll get enough of those to get another one if you want. The max at the end of the game is 10. I don't know what you'll end up with if you go straight through without collecting stuff. Those puzzles are actually pretty easy, but those are more fun because they vary collecting the yellow things. So like some of them are required to stand on a light circle, and then there will be bells in front of you, and they'll light up in a different pattern. You just have to shoot them in that pattern, and you'll get them. Others are races almost. So like yellow butterflies will appear, and you jump in the butterflies, and you have to use.
I did do one of the butterfly ones.
Didn't have one of those. Yeah.
Those get tough. But then there's also random ones that you wouldn't expect. So like if you did some exploring, there's one area where there's like a building built into the wall of the mountain, and outside is like a huge long pathway of water, and then it goes out to each side. And if you look, just like we've all played Zelda, we know there's like every 10 feet there's a pillar, but on the very end one of them is lit. So if you go to the very end and shoot it, it just goes bing, 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 all the way. It lights it all, and that's what you get as a reward. So that's the second type of collectible. The third type of collectible in this game are the lore tower, or the lore tablets that just tell you more. And I think if you're not exploring, that's probably what you're missing the most of, because they do some really cool things in the world. So in the plateau itself, there's a prison, there is a monastery, and there's one other. Oh, the Colosseum. Colosseum's where you have the boss fight. The monastery, we'll talk a little bit about the religion, about how like the hunters have come there and they're all trying to, get rid of the corruption, but nobody's been successful. The other one is interesting because at the prison, you walk up to it and there's a ton of skeletons just at the front with like javelins out of them and so on. And as you start like reading the bodies, essentially this antagonist has corrupted some of the hunters and they were fighting for him. So there was a little bit of a battle between the hunters that were trying to save the Eagle Mother and the ones that were corrupted that are trying to bring on this corruption in the world. So just little stuff like that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of story beyond you as the hunter and the antagonist, but if you do some exploring in the next areas, there are some cool little like puzzles and areas you can find that just add to this really cool world that I think they built. So upon getting 3 of those medallions, or 10, whichever you want to do, no big deal, you put them in the towers. Cernos gets trapped.
I didn't even see another one, dude. Like, I literally, like, that was sort of my, it's like, I can get into more later, but I didn't even see any of those extra ones. Like, I ran around, because you can use the vision to, like, see where the towers are at, right? So, like, I would, wherever I was at, I would put the vision thing on, I would see where the next tower was, and I'd go, okay, cool, I'll head that way. And then I would just start running, and if I saw something on the way that looked cool or whatever, then I'd stop and do what I was doing, do it, and then go. But that's legitimately, that's how I found the butterfly thing, is I was running along to one of the towers, I saw this little, like, golden cloud sort of sitting below, so I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll drop down, do it, and then I was like, okay, cool, I got the fucking coins or whatever, and I was like, sweet, and then I just kept going. I genuinely did not run into a single other thing, like, on my way to those towers.
So you're not locked out. Like, if if the bug hits you towards the end of the game, you can always come back, right? Once you get more of the traversal, you can come back and you can move beyond the area. So you're not locked out of anything. But a general rule of thumb, just to make it easy, is if you're at one of the towers and you do, like, the sonar thing, a big building will have one of those. A monastery, a jail, a coliseum, a ruin, but like a big ruin will have it. If you see something small that just lights up red, it's probably some of those gold coins or something like that. So just like if you're up there and you're like, that looks bigger than normal, or like I see that above the trees, I have a good idea there's a medallion over there. So, but yeah, so we're introduced to our first boss fight against Cernos, and I will say I really enjoy these boss fights. I don't remember all of them. I remember 2 specifically, this one and I think the third one. It might be the next one, but like I remember it because it's pretty distinct. Like the whole Cernos, when you get into the corruption, you're ready to fight him. He just runs. He just takes off. He's like, no, like I'm gonna keep bringing corruption to the world, and it doesn't fight you directly. You have to use that movement to chase him. And I don't know how long it took you guys. It took me a while. Like I feel like I chased him all over.
Yeah. So I think and again, this is just me because I don't know how I make this happen in games. There is like really aggressive rubber banding that happens in that fight.
Yes.
So
yeah.
The way I finished it was that this, like, where you can get in on him at was like I was at the tower that's like closest to right there. So I jumped off and just used the eagle to glide like in, and I was on top of him. Like I'm talking like I'm over him while I'm in the air. And then he literally just is like, whomp! Like, I mean, like, I'm faster than I've seen anything move in that game. And, like, it just throws him forward. And so I have to start running and catch up to him. And I'm like, man, again, not a big deal. I know sequencing in games is hard. Like, whatever. That's how you solve a problem. But I landed and I was like, oh, dude, I'm about to get some shots off on you. I already know, like I'm very close. And he was just like, fucking, and I was like, all right. And so then I had to chase him down to get it up. So I don't think I think that's by design. I don't think you're meant to get to him pretty easy. I will say that during that fight, one of the frustrations that I had was that they're also very specific at the distance that you need to be to hit him.
Yes.
But it's not always in line with the distance of how far your bow can go. I was shooting speed boost things that were in front of him. But
weird.
But I was not getting a target on his legs. And I'm like,
because the eyes don't open up until you get like a certain proximity to him.
and I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
if I'm shooting a thing that's way in front of him, let me fucking
Eyes
hit his
weren't
legs.
open.
Whatever.
Yeah. So that's the point. Like the point of the fight is you run beside him and then you shoot the 6 eyes, 3 on each side, and each time you do, it kind of slows down. They add a couple of fun mechanics. One fun mechanics, just one simple. He jumps, shoots out a ring of fire. You jump over the ring of fire. Otherwise, it slows you down. You have to start the process, not over,
Yeah.
but like from a back area. So, once you hit him enough, he's just out. He's like, I was not expecting you to be this good. I'm gone. And where does he go? He goes to the biggest building on this island, which is the Colosseum, aptly named, because that's where the fight really like proper kicks off. And this will be the loop. I mean, clearly this is the loop. Get the medallions, light the towers, chase the boss, then they go to their arena once you do it. And the arenas vary each time, which is what I think are really cool, like some of the things that they do. So this first fight, you're in the circular arena with him, and pretty easy. Shoot the eyes on his side, jump over the fire until you turn into a Ganon fight from Ocarina of Time, where you've hit him enough, and he shoots one big lightning flame ball at you, and you just like ricochet it back, hit him in the eye, do that 3 times, and it's it. I did all of this stuff without dying because I've done it 3 fucking times now. Right, pretty simple. But we'll stop there. So, like, how did you guys fare in the fight? What did you think of the fight? How did it go for you? Mine was pretty quick. That was honestly the quickest part of this whole playthrough for me.
Yeah, no, it went pretty quickly. I didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
I know I had a little bit of an issue, like not issue. I had took a little bit more time to get caught up to him. But again, as Kristen was saying, there's a lot of rubber banding that's involved with that. But it was a lot of fun. I liked how they used the traversal and the speed mechanics because it felt fucking amazing to do. And for you to do this in a boss fight, as far as like the first phase of it, if you will, was a lot of fun to go through. They ended up that extra mechanic of jumping over it, which of course I don't do the first one. I'm like, okay, circle over fire. I'm gonna jump over that next time, sure. And then you're going through and you're kind of just taking them out. It feels really good. You're moving fast, and then phase 2, you go to the Coliseum. It took me a second to figure out how I was going to get behind them because you don't immediately get an opportunity to get those leg eyeballs when you're in the Coliseum. You have to go through the first. He volleys the fire at you. You're moving out of the way of that. He does the ring of fire again too. Cool. You jump over that, and then he leaps at you, and then that's when you can kind of get off to the side because he will stay in that position for a hot second, so you can get one of those eyeballs out. There's a couple times to where like I didn't exactly know where I was going, and I kind of would like either I jumped back or I would jump underneath him kind of deal, and I wasn't in the right spot to get those eyes. They do give you a good hot second to get to it, so that's nice. And a lot of times if you're jumping in the air and using your bow, it will give you a slight slowdown, so that way you can kind of give it a second to kind of figure out where you're going to shoot, things of that nature, which is nice. It's not a super huge slowdown, but it's nice. But there's a couple times to where like, oh, I'm on the wrong side because I got all these eyeballs. Let me try to get over there real quick so I can shoot the other side. But I didn't die during this boss battle. He got me that one time when the first cloud hit you and he's searching for you. But other than that, no. I did get hit a couple times where it started getting pretty red around the screen. When it comes to those boss battles, obviously like it's not a one-hit kill like it is when he's searching for you. Do you know how many times you have to get hit before it puts you back to a checkpoint, or
It gets very red. Like it will encompass like the
I
whole
assume
screen.
maybe
So
2 or 3
if you
hits.
if you only had a little bit, you would have been fine.
Gotcha.
My guess is probably 3.
Yeah, my guess is around 3 hits if I had to guess. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. The exploration, I didn't do a lot. Like I kind of, the way I was saying to you guys in the text message, like it seems like Alex obviously scraped it for 100%. Christian kind of went to where it was natural. There were a few points where I was like, I see something over there. I'm like, I'm going to detour a little bit because I do see something glowing over there. And it's a nice little cave area. Not cave area. A nice little section with like a building. And there was like a hole on the top. And then I had to figure out how to get into that hole. There was also those little fire torch sections to where you blow your arrow, it tosses it all through there, and it kind of goes bink, 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 lights up all those, and you get a little coinage. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I know I loved it. Like I said, traversal
in the next areas, I would encourage you, don't scrape or do
no.
crazy
I'm gonna explore a
exploration.
little bit more for sure.
But if you see the big, like the 2 or 3 big buildings per area, those are kind of fun. Only if you just run over there and like check out the architecture, because like there is architecture to them, right? Like it's not ruins.
If I saw
like,
bigger
the prison
buildings
and the monastery,
I would definitely try to go into them. Yeah.
Just for like the world building, like they do some pretty cool ones throughout that are just kind of like, oh, this is pretty. Like it's different, it's pretty, it's fun to see.
That is the more obvious point of getting those sigils. Like it's because you go to smaller sections, you don't know if it's going to be one of those medals or sigils, or if it's going to be like the currency or whatever in here to get like the extra jumps. It doesn't like telegraph to you what that section is going to have for you as far as what you're going to unlock when you do whatever puzzles in that small section. So the bigger sections are definitely going to give you a little more lore for sure, but also you're most likely going to get one of the sigils there. Also,
getting all 10 does give you something.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But I forget what it gave me. I'll look
Maybe
at
like
it.
an
Like a
outfit.
blessing or something like that. The only reason I know that is because when I loaded up today, I saw Alex's achievements, and it was like there was one for cleansing the elk, and there's one for getting the blessing of the elk, whatever that is. But
so outside of those pillars that give you the story, there's also a lot of dead bodies around that have like little orbs around them too. They give you a lot of the story.
yeah,
of, like,
I saw a bunch of those.
Those are nice to have too. So if like those are kind of things where like if I see it, I'll go after it for sure. But yeah, I'll do a little more exploring. This time I was doing like laundry in between. I was kind of watching my record time. Like, oh, we're getting a little 2 hours. When I edited down all the pauses that I had, it was like an hour and 15 or something like that. So I'm like, okay, if I was playing this without pausing for laundry, what I would have done is I would have finished that whole area as far as the boss and everything. And then before I went to the red steps, I would have gone and like, okay, well, let's just explore this area a little bit more. Now we don't have to worry about the fucking cloud or anything like that. I can go and take apart some stuff. 'Cause there was a couple of things I got on the way to the thing that shoots you up or lets you go across the bridge.
The gift of the elk, when you get all 10, it makes my bar, it recharges automatically.
Oh, nice.
So I don't have to shoot stuff to recharge it. It'll just recharge by itself.
Ooh,
Sick, nasty.
okay.
That's what it is. So,
Yeah, I loved it.
yeah.
Good section.
Cool. What about you, Christian? Where were you at this fight? How'd you do?
Good.
Pretty,
I mean,
the mechanic is easy, so.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the
boss.
fight. My only problem is it was random nitpicks. I don't like rubber banding. Like if I can smoke the boss, just let me smoke it.
Yeah.
I don't like time gated stuff. Like when I'm over there, like if I have the time, let me shoot all the like if I'm right there, let me shoot all 3 legs or whatever on one side. Like,
Agreed. Don't
one
don't
at
let
a
me
time.
do one. Yeah. Just let me do all 6 or all 5.
But I know it makes the fight more cinematic, and that's what they want to do, and blah blah blah. That's just not to my taste. But some people dig that. It's totally fine. Yeah, enjoy. That is very good so far. I'm very excited. It's so far the setting is very interesting. Like I think it's a cool setting and a cool premise. The music and art is on point, like it always is in these games. Like it's not, but yeah, I'm excited.
The thing that changes the most will be that second phase, and I think it's the next one that I really, really enjoy.
Okay.
Either way, in our next playthrough, we'll hit it. It's either the second fight or the third fight, but I thought it's really fun because it's a much different arena than the big circular open arena, which I think is creative and fun. So yeah, that's where we're at. Once we do that, once we defeat the elk, it changes. All of a sudden, the corruption is gone. The sky lights up. It's no longer dark in the plateau. It's pretty and sunny. It makes it a little easier to see some stuff. And the elk itself turns into a spirit. And then I assume you all did this part. You chase him, right? Same sort of thing. Did you do all of? Did you not do that? Neither of you did that.
I didn't know that you could
It
chase
didn't even
them.
give me the option.
Yeah.
It literally was like, it said the land is free of all this corruption. It's awesome.
Drink some water.
You say
disappears.
certain else. It drinks some water. It disappears, and then you
So-
get launched into the thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is very clearly a 100% thing.
That's probably the
So
blessing or whatever you got. Yeah.
it is the blessing. So if you get all 10 talismans, that's fair. I forgot it happened.
You gotta chase it, right, guys? Right, guys?
So
wait.
it's kind of cool. So what'll happen is the elk, once you get all 10, he'll appear below and he'll be his spirit form. So he's huge and he's blue and astral, and you jump down and he takes off running. So then you chase him for also a good decent bit. But like what he does, he runs you around the map to where he was slain. And he'll stand there. When you get there, all of a sudden this massive, like biggest thing on the map in this area appears, and it's his skeleton. And like the skull is massive and so on. And you cleanse the area and you get his blessing because you found where he was slain. But it's just a really cool like thing to see as it just appears out of nowhere. It just is, you can now see it from the sky. You can run up on top of it and so on. Plus you get the buff, which is cool. But yes, I forgot that was after you did the talisman. So once you do that, you run to the big light pillar in the middle of the map, and it shoots you into the sky. And what do? We make it to the red steps, and that's where we ended this, where we will begin to rinse, repeat. The thing I like about this game is the way they do it is you can put in as much as you want or get out as much as you want. Meaning, if you want to scrape, it's going to take you 6-8 hours. Probably not. Probably closer to 6. If you don't want to scrape, it's a much shorter game, which I think is perfect for this loop. Because the loop is very basic. Get to the corrupted area, get 3 talisman, light the towers, fight the boss, right? If they did more of that, like, it would just be too much. You would be super, super bored with it. So I think they do a really nice job balancing, like, hey, if you want to get through it, get the story, you can. If you want to take more time, these little areas will vary up what you're doing, will give you different puzzles and so on. It's just going to take longer, but it's up to you. So I like that addition. But
yeah,
that is where we are at. One thing I read, the reason it ended up on Apple is something the director said. He said Apple saw this game and they said it fit what they wanted, which is an open world adventure game that offered a lot, but was accessible to both young and old. And I think this perfectly nails that. Sure. It's open world, it's accessible to everybody. I will have my own gripes on that later. I think there's a problem fundamentally with your service when you try and cater to everybody. It's going to limit what you can do. We'll talk about that when we're done with this book club, with this video game. But I think it is really accessible. So next up, we are going to continue on to the to Soros. I hope I'm saying that right, because if not,
the second
another
boss.
Soros out there that, yeah. Let me quickly just Google here the Pathless bosses. I think we're going to do the next 2, because if we do the next 2, then that would leave us one final playthrough. That would be the final boss, would be the final deity and the main boss. And I don't remember how long the main boss of the game is. I do remember the main boss fight being quite a bit different. You're not chasing him. You're not shooting his eyes around the map, right? It's quite a bit different from what you're doing, which is a nice change of pace. So, in this next fight, we are going to do the second and the third area, which is the red step. For the love of God, just tell me what your stupid bosses are, which is Sorrow, no S on the end, Sorrow, and then Nimue in the Great Plains. So the red step and the Great Plains, that will leave us the Mountain Tundra and the Godslayer for the final part.
Got it.
All right, so second and third areas finished for part 2.
So our playthrough, scraping it took me about 2 hours. Christian ran through it, and he said it took you about 52 minutes for our first playthrough. So by that math, should put our second playthrough right at 2 hours, up to probably 3.5 if you want to scrape everything. So if you're out there and want to play along, I encourage you to, if you have access to this game. It's a fun game to play along too. I talked to Travis. He said he wanted to try it out. You absolutely should. With that, if you can find it on sale, or there are sites that sell it at a discounted price, do that, because the game's still like $40 for some stupid reason. But that's where we're going in our next playthrough. So, any final comments, boys, before we log off here today?
Nope, it's been
Nope.
good. Super excited to play more.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us in another episode of part 1 of our playthrough with the Pathless. Man, we got to get this game done because we have so much coming up in the month of December that we absolutely have to do. So, yeah, enjoy it, everybody. And Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.